Hello and welcome to the Blackdog Podcast, episode 294. So close.
So close.
So close. So close.
Open your eyes, Darren. Open your eyes.
Yeah. You've been asleep, Darren. You've been asleep for a very long time. Open your eyes.
I wish I had been for that 2 hours. But never mind.
No, we just skipped to the end. Right. Good night, everyone.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Elton.
And this week, well, we've watched a film. We don't like it. Goodbye. No. This week, we're going to see how everyone's week is, and then we're going to continue our 4 weeks of horror into the 5th week of horror, which is actually now in November. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. With a random one, which was Session 9. Yes. So which I think is a Mystery Monocle pretty much for all of us.
Yep.
Though I said that, and then Laura immediately jumped on Facebook and said, Darren saw it when I was a student. And I'm
I didn't see it.
Okay.
Really didn't. I've not seen this before at all.
Are you sure, Dow? You sure you don't need to open your eyes?
Yeah. No. It's probably because I had them shut because I was probably a fucking sleep, but there you are.
Okay, fair enough. Well, there you go. Do you want to just log off early? Is that?
Yep.
That's it.
Sorry, it was shit. Goodbye.
Click. Brr. Yeah, I'm logging off now. Goodbye. Yes, it's 9:10. Goodbye.
It's the new format in the Black Dog. We're doing it backwards.
Yeah, exactly. So, yes, this is the last day on Earth before Trump takes over and the world is obliterated in nuclear fire. So, yeah, how's everyone's last week on Earth been? And we'll start with Elton.
Okay, well, this is going to be a very, very short one because I've had a stinker of a week.
Well, that usually means it's going to be a long one, usually.
No, there's nothing that I want to report. It's just been fucking god-awful, horrible.
Okay.
The only ray of sunshine was when I got to speak to my friends, Darren and Andy, when I did Shonky Lab on Thursday.
Which I'm currently halfway through listening to.
Oh, are you? Oh,
yeah,
okay, cool.
I'm actually 50% of the way through, and Darren's just turned up.
Ah.
Yep, time to stop.
Oh, fuck, not him again.
Did you tick your bingo cards as well?
I did. I didn't have 9:48 though. I'll be honest with you.
I might make that a regular feature.
Yeah. Just when do you think the guest producer is going to arrive?
No, that was good. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to them guys about MCM and London Comic Con and all that stuff that was going on. And my CD player is suddenly starting to spin up. I don't know why.
Okay.
What else have I been doing?
Is it reading out the first of the sessions?
No, this is Battlestar Galactica. Oh dear me.
Yeah, don't knock it. Are you going to wake up Simon? You're going to wake up Simon. Wake up Simon. Can I talk to Simon, please?
That's
Anyway.
not going to happen.
Okay.
That's really not going to happen. Nobody needs that. What else have I been doing? Yeah, I've been watching Battlestar Galactica, Mad Men.
Oh,
What else have I been watching? Walking Dead, which I'm not really being spoiled. I think I've sorted out all the people I speak to on social media and pretty much cleaned everything that will spoil me.
Nice. Good
So
work.
I think I'm all right. I've hoed the people that I do not need to hear about.
Yeah.
The bastards that normally spoil me on everything. So wait until Game of Thrones starts, and then I'll find a new lot of people. But at the moment, it's pretty good. I'm not being spoiled.
Well, just for anyone who is into Game of Thrones, and going back to my long winding road of one day I'm going to get you all. Just a little heads up that someone who worked on editing of Game of Thrones has basically dropped every single thing for season 7 onto Reddit.
Oh, really?
The whole lot went up. A full and complete and unexpurgated list of the entire story plots, arcs, the whole 9 yards. So,
Jesus.
I have it.
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
Dicks.
Yeah, but, all those Hail Hydra people, all those, you need to see this episode of so-and-so, all those, by the way, here's a couple of meme things. Guess what? Next year is going to be really difficult for you on my Facebook wall. Really difficult. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. Mine's very cold. Anyway, carry on.
Just let me know so I don't have to log in that hour.
That month. Anyway, yeah, go on, carry on.
It's no, that's it, mate. That's it. And unless you want me to go into the real dark stuff, which would just bring everyone down, I don't want to do that. So,
if you don't want to do it, that's perfectly fine. This is a safe space, Elton. All group hug.
No, this ain't happening. This is backstage talk. Maybe if you're lucky.
Backstage talk. Yeah, it's locker room chat, isn't it, or something?
No,
isn't that an excuse?
No,
oh shit! No.
Yeah.
Fuck! That's all gone wrong.
That comes in about 6 hours time, doesn't it?
Yeah. I was going to say, by the time we finish recording, maybe we'll actually be able to tell everyone first.
I wonder if we'll be able to bring the first results in, because I've got Sky News in the background at the moment.
Oh God, no, that would be terrible. That would be like slow. No. That would be like a slow motion car crash, except it's a nuclear bomb. Just watching it slowly edge its way over the horizon.
Yeah,
and all the houses
I've spoken to some people about what's going on over in America, and I'm not very clued up on this. You guys may well be aware, but I have my opinions.
Yeah,
and I think they're pretty much on board with you guys and what's socially going on at the moment. But people I know and speak to and pretty much work colleagues are just the other side, and it's just I don't want to look at you.
Yes,
don't want to work with you. I don't have any need to be anywhere near you.
Yep.
Just the way they speak about it, everyone's welcome to their opinion, but fuck off.
Just not in front of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. This is not a democracy.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, it won't be very soon. Anyway, nope. Right. Okay. Well, then let's move on to Jim. How has your week been, sir?
Fairly quiet, really.
Mm-hmm.
I've been mainly Halloween's a busy time for me, doing a horror podcast, obviously.
Yes.
And my Christmas specials are the stuff of legend, so I've been sort of beavering away, so I'm not editing and recording come Christmas Eve.
Nice.
Which is all going well for a change, which is good.
That's good.
Other than that, I've not really done much other than I went to see Doctor Strange.
Right, okay.
You couldn't give me anything for my cold.
So
it was fucking useless.
Sorry, what was that last bit?
You couldn't give me anything for my cold. It was fucking useless.
Yeah, he's not that kind of Dr. Jim. Doctor who? Oh dear, no.
I have warm hands.
Yeah, from the hoary hands of Hoggoth, or whatever his name is. Okay, cool.
It's Peter Penis Fingers.
Yeah. Oh, what was that one? What was that one with the rusty spoon fingers, or was it lemon fingers? Oh, that bloody web comic, the web video.
I have no idea.
Oh, there was like
lemon fingers. I'm googling lemon.
It's just like blue again, isn't it?
No. Hold on. No. It's honestly, I'm not going off my head. There was like it was like a post-apocalyptic world. Salad fingers. Is it salad?
I was going to say, Lee, whatever drugs you were taking, don't take them before going to see Doctor Strange. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just don't.
Yeah.
Fuck with your head.
Oh, there you go. Salad fingers.
Oh yeah, I know salad fingers.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's creepy as fuck. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, I don't know where I was going. Go on and carry on, Jim.
Neither do I. I'm rather thrown by that. I'm not putting that into
Trust
Google.
me, Jim. I think
I've done this before and ended up with some horrible things.
Yeah.
It's salad fingers is good though.
Yeah,
I thought.
It's not Slanishi watch on Space Dog. Don't trust me on that. And for those of you who don't know,
forget in a hurry.
No.
Without the lack of trying.
I like rusty spoons.
Mr. Cumberbatch. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, trust me, Jim, I reckon if you watch Salad Fingers, you could get a whole season of Hypnagogia out of that. Seriously, I reckon you could. Anyway, go and carry on, sir. I'm derailing.
Yeah, it's Doctor Strange. It's fitting the current trend is that I'm much preferring the more offbeat Marvel movies.
Mm.
And it's sort of slotting in with sort of Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
On that sort of front.
Oh, right,
rather
cool.
than the non-Avengers thread that seems to be currently happening.
Yeah, fair enough.
We're a super team. Let's all fall out, not do anything. Fuck off.
Let's all fight each other.
But no, I thought it was quite fun. I was quite surprised there was kind of as much of the sort of wacky sort of psychedelia, like the classic vintage Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
and I thought they kept it kind of true to the original sort of classic run of the comics,
right?
While updating it nicely for the 21st century. And I thought it worked sort of pretty well. All in all, I mean, I was kind of thinking, is this going to go into kind of sort of superhero Harry Potter wand fighting territory?
Yeah,
which in the comics, I mean, that kind of has happened in certain periods of Doctor Strange's life. So I quite enjoyed it. The only thing for me that kind of constantly sort of niggled was Cumberbatch's accent.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure it's a case it wasn't a well done accent. I'm not familiar enough with New York accents to judge how spot on it was. I mean, it sounded good enough, but it's just one of those things for me, because I know he is oh so English.
Yes.
It just always just sounded weird.
Yeah.
I got used to it over time, but that was kind of, I think it's just one of those things. It's kind of, if it's like when I started watching The Walking Dead with Andrew Lincoln.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of, that's not your voice. Talk properly, Egg. Talk properly. Come on.
Nice.
But there's also that thing, I never quite imagined Doctor Strange sounding as quite as sort of Manhattanite as he does in the movie. I think he could have got away with just something a bit more transatlantic and kept some of the clipped English tones.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the Sorcerer Supreme and a neurosurgeon. I think that wouldn't have been too much of a stretch. But hey ho, But that's just a nitpick, really. Although I thought it was good fun and some very very eye-catching sequences.
Okay. I mean, I have to say I've not seen it. I will be seeing it on Sunday, so I'll report in next on Sunday because basically what happened was normally these sort of things I just run out and just watch them and ta-da. And what happened was this time I was like, no, actually I turned to Katie and I said, do you want to see that? And she's like, yeah. And it's like, right, fine. Yeah. The problem is as soon as you promise that, obviously then you're stuck in a situation of, okay, when is it available and where I can take a 12-year-old out to see it, not like a 9:00 showing or anything. So yeah, so I kind of, so Sunday is going to be good. Looking forward to it. Cool. Anything else, sir?
Apart from that, I've watched some foreign language horror films.
Oh, good. Which ones?
I watched one called Under the Shadow.
Oh, how good is
which
that?
I believe is the first Iranian horror film.
Yeah.
Certainly the first one to get wide release. And I really enjoyed that. I thought
So
that was
good.
A good companion piece to the likes of the Babadook, I thought.
Yes. Yeah, very good.
And just the setting of it was just the Iranian-Iraq war in the 80s, and just what life was like for the poor sods in Iran while these mad leaders decided to go at it hammer and tongs and level everything.
Yeah.
I mean that's something it's not a story we see an awful lot of, and to get that insight, that was made for a really fascinating film.
Yeah.
Really well performed, really well built, really liked it.
Yeah.
I also watched a Turkish horror film called Baskin.
Ooh.
And Baskin apparently means raid in Turkish.
Right.
And obviously with the film being called already been called The Raid. They couldn't call it that.
No.
So it stuck to its original Turkish title. That was adapted from a short, and that's weird, man.
Yeah?
That's weird. On reflection, I think I liked it.
Okay.
I'm not sure, though. I mean, it's quite graphic, quite sort of skin-crawly, nasty, but really well done. And these sort of interesting sort of layers, and I had to think about it afterwards, going, I'm not sure, did that work? Does it all add up? And there's lots of interesting, because the narrative's sort of a bit fractured, and you have to sort of put things together a bit in your head, and it leaves a lot of questions unanswered, which I think will infuriate some people, and other people will love. But certainly an interesting film.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen that one, I'll be honest with you. But I have to say, Under the Shadow, I was dead impressed with.
That is such a good movie.
So good.
Really, really enjoyed that.
Might be worth putting that on the horror docket for next year. Do you reckon?
Definitely.
Yeah. Good. Cool. I'm glad we agreed on that one. That's good. Cool. Okay. Any other foreign language horror while we're at it?
I did watch another one that's based on a Ramsey Campbell novel.
Oh, good
I've
Lord.
been aware of for a while and not being able to sort of track down. And then suddenly I saw there was a copy on Amazon, cheap, sort of. Last 2 copies left. I thought, right, I'm having that.
Yeah.
It's called The Nameless, or Le Sin Nombre.
Yeah.
Based on his novel, The Nameless, which I really enjoyed, but I'm a bit I only watched it the other night. I'm still reflecting on the end, and I need to go back to dig out my copy of the novel and see how the novel ended, because I'm sure it didn't end like that. And it's an ending that's kind of like a bit like, oh, really? Oh, fuck. I'm not sure that's good or bad yet. So, but right up until the end, that's an interesting film, because if you think of Spain as being, sun-kissed and hot. And this is very much like a noir film. There's a woman whose daughter's disappeared. Then 5 years later, after supposedly the body's been found and she was murdered, but then 5 years later she gets a phone call from her daughter, and she starts investigating and found the people who took her were this weird cult. They're into Nazis and torture, and it just gets weirder and weirder. It's very sort of noirish and bleak and dark. And fucked up. It was really, really well done. I said I'm not sure about the ending at all yet, but I need to think about it a bit more and revisit the novel. It's a while since I've read the novel, and so.
Right.
But yes,
cool.
Worth a look, definitely.
Excellent. Right. Well, that's pretty comprehensive there. That's it. Full on horror for you. In fact, you've had more horror in November than you have in October. Along with your devil stuff that you're doing on Hypnobobs. Hypnogoria, sorry. Get the brand right. Cool. Excellent. Well, let's move on to Darren then. Darren, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Ah, excellent. Cool. Heart
there
attack
you go.
moment.
So I haven't gone. The microphone's not failed. My internet's not blown up. My computer's not set on fire.
Wow.
I'm really surprised none of this has happened.
This is doing
actually.
Well. Yep.
Yeah. Anything can happen now. This is 2016. Armageddon may appear in my living room. I don't know.
Yep.
But my week this week's been it's been a good week this week. Started off with going to again, like Jim, I went to see Doctor Strange at the cinema. Really enjoyed it. Lovely, good stuff. For anybody that does go and see it, and they follow the usual pattern of staying after the credits. There is a mid-credit sequence.
Nice.
And there is a post-credit sequence.
Cool.
I think the one mid-credits is better than the one at the end, but there you go.
I'd agree with that,
I will also
cool.
Yeah, you wouldn't. Yeah, I thought it's more interesting, although we don't know later on down the line that very last sequence might have a little bit more weight.
That's
but
true.
Yeah. I'm afraid the villain in this one is only a little bit more interesting than Christopher Eccleston's one in Dark World.
Oh, that doesn't say much.
He basically is there to facilitate the origin of Doctor Strange. So he kind of helps the whole thing along, and that
the Jeff Bridges of Iron Man. Jeff Bridges in Iron Man.
The what?
Jeff Bridges.
It is the Jeff Bridges in Iron Man. Yeah, it is that. So, even Jeff Bridges' character was more interesting than this bloke. So it's a real shame as well because it's a really good actor they got playing the role. Is it? I never get this bloke's name right. Is it Mads Mikkelsen?
Yes.
Mikkelsen.
Yes.
Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah,
Him
right
who-
first time, I believe.
Yeah.
Not that I can say it. But,
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Mads Mikkelsen, who always plays a good villain. Whenever he's in there, good go-to man for that.
Yep.
And yeah, like Jim said, the special effects in it, the whole reality bending stuff that they do is absolutely brilliant, and the way they use it in battle and stuff like this as well. Yeah, it's they've gone full on with this one. So I don't know if anybody wants to kind of, if they see it in 3D, let us know what it was like. Apparently, Mr. Palastides went, he said it was really good in 3D. So it works very well. So yeah, there's that.
I only saw it in
anyway.
I saw it in 2D, but afterwards I thought actually that probably would have been good in 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it in 2 as well. I think this is one of those movies that actually maybe does deserve to be watched in 3D, especially for some of those bits where they go travelling through the sort of like the spirit world and stuff like that, and it's quite big, an epic look for some of that stuff, especially when they're going between dimensions and shit like that, and there's all kinds of other cosmic stuff going on.
Cool. Just
so,
yep.
Sorry,
you started to say all this cosmic stuff and everything, and I've already had a little bit spoilt for me, and I'm like, nope.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not giving anything away by that because, well, it's Doctor Strange. He does cosmic shit.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
I think his shit is actually cosmic as well. So, they're always calling in plumbers when he goes. There's a major blockage of a cosmic kind. Fuck me, what have you eaten, mate?
Yeah, Doctor Strange, or as I like to call it, the really difficult turd. What have I eaten? Oh, you've done a Doctor Strange.
Oh, and there is. I actually didn't mind the humour in this either. So
that's good.
The interaction between Doctor Strange and one other character in a library, I think, is quite good.
Benedict Wong.
Yeah, Benedict Wong.
Yes.
I think they kind of bounce off one another, even though it's more Benedict Cumberbatch doing the talking. It's just the straight face on the other character is brilliant. So yeah. So recommend that. Go see it.
Cool.
Nice little start-off movie for that character. But anyway, going on to other stuff. Amory's birthday party. Amory Gorg.
Yep.
Good night had by all, many beers and stuff like that. So happy belated birthday there to Amory. And also Pete Hammond as well. Went to see him and Sally on the weekend. A bit of a friends get together. Had a few beers, stuff like that. Celebrated his birthday.
Nice.
And there's a picture of him, I think, online of him with his new guitar. Nice. It was like a 7 or 8 string guitar he's got. Very nice indeed.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, yes, thanks to them. Yep, thanks to them for putting me up over the weekend and putting up with me on the weekend. So, there you go.
I think we can all thank him for that.
Yes, indeed. No, he took me away from London so that nobody else had to suffer. So there you go. He put me out of your misery. Okay, there you go. I said it.
There you go.
Anyway, on the TV, going on the Amazon thing, I finished a series called Life in Pieces, which is currently doing its thing on Amazon Prime, which is basically it's Modern Family, but I think this is actually better.
Okay.
It's 4 stories per episode, and they're only 20-minute episodes, but I think it's actually a funnier program than Modern Family. I think the characters are actually better. It's not just one character that I think is great in the show. I think there's a few of them in there that are actually really, really good and really funny. So, yeah, check that out. And one that I have started watching is Mr. Robot. Finally got around to getting that started.
Okay.
Which is all about of hacking and stuff like this.
Yeah.
All from one person's point of view.
Now,
liking that.
Is it the same? Is it the Frank Black Millennium style hacking in terms of there's a pixel on the screen and he goes, oh yeah, just enhance, and there's a picture of a guy with his credit card number and everything. Because
No, you know, in some films when they go and they use a search engine and they've got this totally different sort of, you've never seen this search engine before.
Yeah, called
and
Gobble or something.
You know, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't act. They actually use Google in this, and they use the proper search page and everything. So, yeah, I kind of appreciated that about that
nice
show.
Little touch on that. Have you seen the episode titles?
No.
Yes. Yeah, they always end in a different format. So
Yeah.
you'll have it's written like underscore and stuff like this and using numbers instead of letters, but it'll have .mp4 or .mkv. And it does that with each episode.
It's something
So it
really
looks like
subtle, but works really, really well.
Ah.
Yeah, I thought so. So yeah, interesting character. The main character, I thought. There's this whole question about his sanity in the show as well, and you know, is what he believes correct or not? He's pretty messed up, but he's trying to do the right thing with his computer skills. And from a revenge point of view, when he kind of takes it out on one or two people, you know, he kind of just breaks encryption on everything that they've got, finds out their passwords. You see that he can really fuck with someone's life.
Yeah.
But it's for a good cause. You know, he's to the right people, some real kind of really horrible individuals. Nice. For me, I got great satisfaction out of watching that. So, yeah, good show. Good show so far. I'm into the third episode so far. But I'm just finishing the third.
Okay. Cool. Anything else, sir?
No, that was it.
That was it. Okay, cool. Well, my week was kind of all over the place. Was it? We had fireworks night. I went out for a meal with Carol, which was pretty amazing in and of itself, because basically trying to find a babysitter is kind of like trying to find a hen's teeth. And so we did, and that's why we couldn't make it to Anne Marie's thing, because it was like, we've got one. Just hold on to it. Hold it like a precious jewel. And so we went out for a meal, which was lovely. And on Saturday, we went to fireworks night, which was interesting, because we went to fireworks night at Blackheath, but we got there nice and early, so we got down the front. And I don't know about you, Elton or Jim, if you've ever seen Blackheath fireworks, but they literally like blow up about like 20 grand's worth of fireworks in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, seen all that.
And the problem was we were so close to it that what was happening was we were watching it, and as we were watching it, I felt like my fillings had actually broken. You know when you get that sort of like bits of your filling come out in your mouth, and you got like that sort of little granular kind of metallic taste in your mouth, and it was actually bits of the fireworks that were exploding all around us, because as you were looking up, they were falling in your mouth. And I was so like for like half the actual thing, I'm sort of going ooh, and you know, bits are sort of falling on you, and you can hear it sort of kind of going on your hat. You know, it's like, fucking hell, fire. You know, am I on fire? What is going on? Yeah, so that was interesting. On Sunday, though, I went with Mr. Palastides to see Aliens live, which wasn't like the whole film being done live with people running about with costumes, but it was actually watching it at the Albert Hall, and there was an actual orchestra that would play the entire orchestration live, which was great, because you know what? I discovered that the first 45 minutes has 3 musical cues and nothing else. And those musical cues add up to approximately 7 minutes.
Oh.
Do you know how I know that? Because I sat there watching the orchestra watch the film. It was like...
Oh, so the film was played along at the same time, was it?
Yeah, the film's played along at the same time, but because it's in this massive auditorium, they have subtitles up. And so you'd watch it with the subtitles. You can hear the sound as well, but the music has been cut out completely. And so you'd only hear sound effects and voice, and then all the actual orchestration is played by the orchestra in front of the screen.
Cool.
Which is really cool. The second half, absolutely brilliant. You know, you got all your kind of thing. But the first half is literally, there's a bit of music when you get the lifeboat and you see the space station, and then it all goes quiet until they turn up on LV-426, and that you get this bit when they're going down on the dropship, and it's kind of like...
Oh, were they doing that?
Yeah, they were doing... I did it all. Did the entire
Flipping
score.
love that.
So that... And it was that. All when they actually did it, it was amazing. But the thing is, what you quickly realise, because that stuff is a lot clearer than obviously the other sounds, you suddenly realise how little of the score there is in that film. And you're like, oh, okay. So I've paid X amount of cash to go and sit there and watch an orchestra watch a film with me. Which was kind of
watching
odd.
violinists on their phone playing Angry Birds.
Exactly.
The cellist ordered out for a pizza.
Exactly. Yeah. The lead violinist getting up, going, "Well, you don't need me for an hour." I'm going off for a piss, and just disappearing. I mean, it's all that sort of stuff. So that was that, and so I was a bit, oh, okay, yeah. But the film itself, brilliant, and when it all does kick off towards the end, and it's really going absolutely insane, then yeah, it's really good. But I have to say, we had it was interesting because we had a break. I mean, you have an interval so that the orchestra can have a break. Ha ha ha. And basically we were all standing there, and I said, "Oh, I'm dying for a piss." So I went to there, and it was really an indicator of the kind of makeup of the crowd that there was no queue for the female toilets at all. Usually, in a pub or in a big event, the queue for the ladies kind of goes sort of halfway up the stairs somewhere. The men's went round the bloody block, and it was like, oh, right, okay. And there's just women just walking in and walking out, going, "Oh, this makes a change," and you're like, "Fuck!" And literally, it took me 15 minutes to get to the toilet. And then I had to go and get some drinks. So basically, the whole interval was just me standing there for a piss. Other than that, in more geeky, more sort of TV related news, I've finished watching second season of Rick and Morty. It's superb, just simply superb. It's my favourite show now of all time. There's just so many things in it now, and it's strangely one of those cartoons where you'll watch it and you'll think, oh, it's just being flippant and just being a bit mean spirited and what have you, and then you'll get an episode like, without spoiling it, but it turns out that Rick had previously dated in his previous life. In his previous life, he dated a hive mind. So he literally finds he goes back to this sort of weird relationship with this hive mind. So this hive mind's taken over a whole planet. So there's like an entire planet of people who all fancy him. And there's a bit where he turns around, and they're all talking in one voice, like one mind. So he turns around and he goes, "Yeah, you know what we're gonna do? You're gonna bring 15 redheads and the 25 people who all look like my dad, and we're all going off to the stadium." And the next thing you see, he's got a ball gag on and he's having a fag. It's like, oh my god. But and then every now and again, this sort of cuts back to just this stadium going, "Way!" But then there's other stuff which is so poignant and heartbreaking, and just really, like, you're sitting there going, "Wow, that changed on a dime." And some science fiction concepts in there which are absolutely superb. Like I say, dating a hive mind, and things like that, and what happens if you split time into different realities, but you're all aware of each other, but you're just 1 millisecond removed from each other, and all this kind of stuff. It's really good stuff. So I enjoyed that. Turn your phone off now. And yeah, so apart from that, what else? Stop it. Yesterday was full geek on because it was N7 day, November 7th, Mass Effect day, which was basically lots of Mass Effect Andromeda trailers, lots of introductions and news and information and everything, and then basically reveal that the whole old trilogy was turning up on the Xbox One, and it was like, oh, my Christmases have come at once. Way! So I had a bit of a massive waz out on that. Yeah.
Nerd.
Yeah, you know what? I loved it. I jumped onto the Reddit thread for Mass Effect, and normally there's about like 100 people on there. And then when I went on there like last night, when everything started dropping at 5:00, it was like there was 48,000 people on that Reddit thread, and the fucking Reddit thread fell over for 5 minutes. And then there's all these. The website got updated, and MassEffectExe.com got updated, and I'm like, oh, I can't take too much geeking. It's all geek. I was like, geek cookie monster, feed me. Give it all to me now. Yeah. So that was fun. Other than that, I've been doing air conditioning. Oh, and I put up a blind, and the house didn't explode. There you go.
But are you now blind?
Yeah, I am now blind. No, actually, I'm now
Blind Fury.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, I am now Daredevil. Yeah, no, actually, Katie's. It was blind in Katie's room, and basically, Carol said, "Oh, it'd be good if you could like include her in putting this thing up, so she can see what to do."
What not to do.
Oh yeah, what not to do. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. Sure. And so up we went, and we're sitting there and we're doing these things, and I found like there was already like pre-made screw holes in the windowsill, so it was like, oh, this is great. I'm going to look like a fucking master. I'm just going to screw it all in. And within 5 minutes, one screw was bent, and the frame that was holding the blind was bent the wrong way, and I'd managed to lose like 2 of the screws down the back of the bed, and like then I started drilling into the wall, and the fucking dust went everywhere. And there's Katie go, my pillow's turned orange, and that sort of thing. And then she just got bored and sat there playing on her iPhone while I sat there swearing at the blinds for about 20 minutes. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Other than that, yeah, not a lot. So that's my week. Shall we move on? Yeah. Okay. So is this a 4 weeks of horror, or is it a mystery monocle now? Are we going to just wrap
Mystery Horacle.
I'm not mixing 2 bloody jingles together, Jim.
Just do a mystery.
Go on then, we'll do a mystery.
Yeah,
okay.
Mystery Monocle.
So time for the Mystery Monocle, which is session 9.
Ooh, we're watching a new movie we've never seen before. I'm buttering my nipples and waxing my ass. Roll up the Mystery Monocle film. Roll up for the Mystery Monocle film. Roll up
Masturbation.
for the Mystery Monocle film. Roll up for the Mystery Monocle film. The Mystery Monocle film is waiting for us to hit play. Going to watch it today, what will we say? Hey Pablo, I need a heroin needle and a watermelon.
Right, okay, so session 9. Session 9 is a 2001 American independent psychological horror film directed by Brad Anderson and also written by Anderson and Stephen Gavadon. The film stars David Caruso, Peter Mullen, Stephen Gavadon, Stephen Gavadon, and Paul Guilfoyle, Josh Lucas, and Brendan Sexton III as asbestos abatement crew who begin to experience growing tensions while working in an abandoned mental asylum, which is paralleled by the gradual revelation of a former patient's disturbed past through recorded audio tapes through hypnotherapy sessions. The film takes place in and around the Danvers State Mental Hospital. You're right.
Yep, carry on.
That's fine. the Danvers State Mental Hospital in Danvers, Massachusetts, which was partially demolished 5 years after the film was made. While the film was not a financial success, Session 9 has been moderately well received critically and is now considered a cult film. The budget we don't know, but how much do you reckon it made at the box office?
7.5p and a button.
Okay. Jim?
8 million.
Okay. Elton?
200,000.
And well, it's not actually that far off. It made 1.6 million. It was released in July 2001. So that's quite low. In fact, I think that's a complete and utter flop. Entertainment Weekly called it a marvel of verite, nightmare atmosphere. Rolling Stone called it a spine tingler and praised Brad Anderson's direction. Los Angeles Times said the film Session 9 was so effective in its sense of uncertainty it lingers long after the theatre lights have gone up. And Bloody Disgusting ranked the film as 5th in its list of 20 best horror films of the 2000s, writing, Session 9 isn't a cheap hack-and-slash, instantly forgettable type horror film, but a psychologically probing, deeply unsettling journey off the edge and into the abyss of the human mind. Shall we go round and talk about this? Because it's a really odd film. Who would like to go first? Elton, would you like to do it, seeing as you're usually the potato meister?
Okay. Are you sure you want me to go first? I don't mind.
Yeah, go for it. Why not?
Okay, right. I love this.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really love this. I feel that this film is... You get more on the second watch.
Oh, yeah?
Which I did.
Really? Okay, fair enough.
Which is very unusual for me to do a second watch or get time for a second watch before our recordings. But it was one where it played on my mind a little bit as to... Have I missed bits on the first watch?
Yeah.
And I think I had missed mannerisms and little bits all the way through. And I gobbled them up the second time round and really, really enjoyed it.
Cool.
What did I like about it? I like the way it's actually layered, or as Mary Berry would say, layered.
It's a bit layered.
Yes, layered.
It's getting a bit layered.
I like the way that it's all conjured together, spiced together, and you've got this narration from these tapes that these guys find. Pretty much narrating what's going on in front of you, in front of your eyes, explaining what's going on. But if you don't catch it the first time round, then you really do miss out on, I'd say, at least a quarter of what's going on in front of you. And that's what I caught second time round. I'm a bit disappointed I missed that the first time round, but I like the way it's done. It got me thinking about when what's his name? Who's the main guy?
Right.
It wasn't Mike.
Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon. When he actually went off the rails and what was going on there, and then it got me thinking. It's just. Do you remember Blair Witch?
Yes.
And they pretty much give you the punchline in the very beginning, first 10 minutes, and then it plays out in the last 2 minutes. And this did a similar sort of thing. And I like that, but I didn't catch it the first time round, and it was almost the enjoyment came from watching them bits play out the second time round. That's where I got most of my enjoyment from. I thought the cast was pretty solid all the way through. There's not much in here, but it was pretty solid. I just really, really liked it. I don't really know where to go without diving into everything and treading on everyone else's toes. But glad to see that the McManus name was in there as well. That's good.
Nice.
That's 2 films this year.
Yeah, you're doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your face, guys.
Yeah, well, you're in a nut house. Well done.
But I'm interested to find out when people... You guys are a lot cleverer than me, and you probably twigged onto it within 10 minutes of it. But when did you twig into certain things that was actually going on here?
Okay.
But, that's what I'm interested in finding out. But yeah, from me, I really enjoyed this. I can see why it's a cult now. And I will be, keeping hold of this and watching this again and again.
Ah, okay, cool. All right, fine. In which case, we'll move on to you then, Jim. What did you think of it?
I really like this as well. It's a film I'd heard of for a long time, but I just couldn't get hold of a copy.
Yeah.
And it seemed to me, at one point I thought, is this just an urban legend? Yes, people just making this shit up about this film called Session 9.
Yeah.
Like Candle Cove.
Yes. Yeah, I should have mentioned that in my week, actually. Go on, carry on.
But it's one of those, it's kind of, I always avoid reading too much about it because it's kind of, I just want, I picked up a film, you just, you have to see with it and go with it. And so I just sort of read out like the way it just kind of, it played out, it sort of built up this kind of unsettling atmosphere, but it did it sort of without, or rather not in the way I was expecting. I know kind of since this movie, seems to be an awful lot of things set in deserted hospitals and abandoned asylums. Yeah. And it's always kind of, ooh, look, there's a drawing of a big knife on the wall. Ooh. And it always looks shit smeared everywhere. And it always looks like, somewhere that, Pinhead and the Cenobites have been hanging out in rather than an old building. Yeah. And I kind of like the fact that it kept it real. It was like a real abandoned building. You can see why you wanted to renovate it, because actually from the outside, architecturally, it's quite beautiful.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it just captured well enough kind of a big place like that where there was once lots of people, or maybe a lot of unhappy people. Yeah. As you're walking through it, it just kind of like, you wouldn't want to be on your own too much. Yeah. In certain, and I kind of like movies that do that. I mean, with kind of horror and sort of things of that ilk, you can sort of go two ways. You can go very stylistic, where you sort of, it's lightning blasted trees and tombstones and thunderstorms and lashing rain and everything's covered in cobwebs, and that can look really great. I mean, sort of that's sort of the Del Toro approach. Yeah, or kind of in text, like the Lovecraft approach, where you really build everything up with the language and description. This takes kind of the other approach I quite like a lot, which is what you get, say, in the work of, say, Ramsey Campbell or M.R. James, where it's quite matter-of-factly told, but with just enough spin to make things that are ordinary suddenly just feel a bit weird. Yeah. And it's kind of what I liked is kind of, it never sort of spelt it out and, hey, man, this place is really getting to me. But you could tell it was just playing on them all as they're just quietly disintegrating, and there's a tension in the group building up. And part of it's just coming from the real life pressure. You got a job to do, the crew isn't getting on, the boss is getting weirder and weirder and seems to be losing his grip and things. And I didn't quite know where it was going to go. And kind of with a film like this, it'd be very easy if you start sitting down trying to second guess it. Sometimes you'd be second guessing the film so much you're not actually watching the damn thing anymore. Yeah. But obviously in this you're going, well, where is this going? What's this? Is it really haunted? Are they just going mad? What is going to happen? And I didn't sort of take anything for granted because I really felt it could go anywhere comfortably. Yeah. And it was well told enough. I thought, well, wherever it's going, I ain't going to feel cheated. So I'll just,
just let it
go on,
slide.
Tell me more. And I thought it worked really well. And the one point where I thought, all right, you're over-egging the pudding was right at the end. And you have this sort of long shot of Gordon. It's like, okay, I get it. I understand what happened. You can stop now. But then you just get that final piece from the tape. Yeah. That last line. Yeah. Which really makes you start thinking of, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe this isn't as cut and dried as we thought.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And that was just a perfect last sort of gentle kick in the teeth.
Gentle kick in the teeth. There you go.
You know what I mean? It was just come with that beautiful shot, just roving over the place, and it looks like a nice building.
Yeah.
From the outside.
Yeah.
And he just does that last line. I live in the wounded and the broken.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, I want to know what the bloody quote is. I'm going to find it now. It's something like, I live in the broken and the weak, or the weak and the sad, or the sad and the broken, or something like that. And just like you suddenly go, okay,
Ooh.
hang on. Hold on, this is wrong.
I live in the weak and the wounded.
That's it.
Dark.
Yeah, it was just like, okay. Time out. Thanks very much.
No, you don't.
Yes, I live in the weak and the wounded, Doc. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Cool. Well, yeah. I won't press you too much on it because I know we're going to go back and talk about this in a second. But we will go to Darren because I suspect we already know what he thinks. But let's give him the floor space and let's enjoy the show. Come on, Dal. What did you think of it?
What did I think of it? I obviously was suffering from, as Elton mentioned, the first time watch, sort of, because that's how I felt.
Yeah,
it was like I thought to myself, any minute now these things are going to intersect and it's all going to join up. And to me, it was kind of like, well, you could have done without all the diary reading stuff and just had these blokes going mad. Because it just seemed like, well...
Really, though? Because
I don't know.
Because as Jim said, that last line kind of implies a whole heap more stuff going on than we know.
Yeah, but it was just that one line. That's the thing. It's just... It's like... somebody singing a song. You've heard those songs where they never ever get to the, you're willing it to get to the chorus and to really go for it.
Journey, don't stop believing.
Like that song, was it Jar of Hearts? Right? Where she sings it and it's just, it never gets to the crescendo.
Yeah.
It never gets to it. Or if it does, it suddenly plays it out really quickly, like somebody speeds it up. And to me, that's what it felt like. It's like 3/4 of the way in, and suddenly we've got the shadowy figure at the end of the corridor, which is I've got to say, that bit where the guy was he was by himself, pulling out all the rings and everything.
Yeah.
That was the only bit that actually had an effect on me.
Right.
My hair actually stood up at the back of my neck when that bit happened. When he looked down the corridor and he sees a figure at the end.
Yeah, that's a proper. Yeah, I was reaching for the Aunt Bessie's myself, to be honest, at that point.
Yeah. So it's like, it wasn't a great jump scare or anything like that. It was just this figure just appeared. No knife wielding, bloody gore or anything like that. And I like that. I thought, oh, hello, it's all going to start kicking off now. Bodies are going to start appearing. People are going to start being offed. But no. Nothing like that happened until the last 5 minutes of the film, and it's just like, right,
yeah.
So,
so what were you really expecting? I mean, given how the film was starting, because the film kind of starts out really kind of trying to lay on thick the atmosphere. So were you just expecting it to turn into a slasher thriller or a ghost story or what? What were you expecting? Because
I expected more of that kind of level where you see the little things, he's in the darkness there and he looks around, keeps looking around, nothing. And all of a sudden, a black shadow walks in the shop.
Yeah.
And it's right down the very end. It's very small. That kind of stuff. That unnerving thing. And I like that bit where he runs around the corner, and as he's running to the end of the corridor, you see from the other point of view, the camera coming, speeding along from the other side, and it doesn't even leave him to scream properly. It's just more like you hear him go, and then it cuts. And I like that.
Yeah.
I really did. It's like, that wasn't terribly in your face. You don't see anything at all. And then later on, when the guy sees him standing at the top of the stairs, that was good.
Yeah.
I like that. You know, and he puts his hand up to the window and draws the line down.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just flipped back from the supernatural again. And it was like the two supernatural parts in it were very few and far between. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Like,
I get you.
what do you want this to be? Is it a psychological? Is this a psychological thriller, or is this a supernatural horror?
See,
What
that's
do you
what
want it to be?
That's what I thought was really good about this, because it was a dance between you deciding what it was all the way through the movie. And up until, I suppose, the figure at the very end of the corridor, I was shitting my pants at that, by the way. I was confused as to whether this was going to kick off and be slasher, or whether it's going to be like the Chernobyl Diaries, or whether something was really going to run amok, or whether it was all just playing around in people's minds. And I quite like that little dance that they were having with that.
Okay.
But it was only a really little dance. These were two tiny bits in a film that was mostly psychological thriller. You know, it was that the guy slowly losing it, and then they had these two tiny bits of possible supernatural occurrence in it. There's nothing else to suggest a supernatural occurrence at all in this film. There are people just losing their minds, and then you get the little bit at the end with the I inhabit the thing, and it's like, really? Because I never got that impression.
I think there's more to it than that. Personally, I think there was a bit more to it than that, because you had the guys fucking each other over as well.
Yeah.
Especially with the phone.
But that's two people who already had a history, right?
Well,
they didn't like each other from the get.
Yeah, but
it's not that they built up this animosity between one another as the film went on. Those two, right? David Caruso's character and the other guy. Those.
Oh, he's gone.
Guy.
Oh, he's gone.
Why? There and then. You know, you didn't have to wait around much. Hello.
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 Yeah.
Sorry, did the mic cut out?
Yeah, just for a second. We got the gist of it though. Carry on.
Yeah, so for me, it's like that wasn't any, that wasn't really a surprise. It was kind of like a bit of a murder mystery as well. Has David Caruso off the other bloke just because of what happened?
Yeah, but then also there's the whole thing with David Caruso fucking over, Gordon. Getting told one piece of information and then he immediately going to the other guy and saying, oh, he's actually slapped his wife, It's like it was setting him up as like the villain. It was slowly building him up to be the villain, and there was this whole... Well, I don't know. I don't want to get into it because it's kind of my side of things. I don't want to storm over yours, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. Sorry, carry on. I'm gonna. Otherwise, I might just say something, and I'll just roll over it. So go on, carry on. Sorry.
No, that's about it. Really, it was just for me. It just wasn't my film. That's it.
That's fair enough. I mean, for me, I knew nothing about this film at all. I mean, all I knew was that every time we've ever done a 4 weeks of horror, 5 weeks of horror, whatever, I've always gone looking for a film that either we haven't seen or if only if they haven't been mentioned. I mean, we've had like Mungo and Wreck and all those kind of things, where people will go, oh, I've never seen this before, and that's cool. And this was kind of the one I wanted to bring out for the horror season, because I was literally sort of every time I Google up sort of like underrated horror movies or little known horror movies, this always appears on the list. And so I was kind of interested to see what it was all about, and it was really weird because for me, it started off feeling like, okay, it's like a sort of a more sensible version, if such a thing can be said, of the what was that? What's that bloody horrible, crappy thing with Famke Janssen and Jeffrey Rush, where he ends up getting stuck in a bloody kaleidoscope room to send him mad? The whole House on Haunted Hill or something like that.
I think think so.
Famke Janssen. Man looks up thing on internet. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Famke Janssen and Jeffrey Rush. Jeffrey Rush. There we go.
Yes, House on the Haunted Hill.
House on Haunted Hill, which was this really camp, naff film about basically a huckster, a prankster who basically wants to get his own back on his wife, and sort of sets up this house which is just full of traps, and it turns out the house is actually haunted, and then is determined to kill them all, send them all mental. And I thought, oh, well, we're going to get that kind of thing. You know, basically they don't think it's haunted, they go crazy, it kills them, the end. And what I found with this film, with Session 9, is it started off that way, but it does subvert your expectations. And like Jim said, and I'm sitting there going, okay, and as you say, Dale, you know, sort of 1 minute you're thinking, okay, I see where this is going. And then it slowly but surely exit another way, and you're kind of like, oh, hold on. This is changing into something else. And then it kind of snakes back another way, and then it pulls a kind of Jacob's Ladder on you. It kind of says, well, actually, everything you knew is complete bollocks. It's a completely different story we've been telling all along, and you just haven't seen it. And for me, that was kind of a really interesting narrative. It wasn't the most scary horror film I've ever seen. There were moments, like with the person down the end of the corridor and that final line, and you know, a few moments where you suddenly start to click what's going on and you finally catch up with the film. But I will say that what I appreciated more than anything else was I didn't know where it was going. And it's kind of, I know this makes me sound like some arrogant, oh, I know all, I've read everything, blah, blah, blah. But the amount of times I watch a film and I can sit there and I go, right, I know where we are in the story arc, I know where we are in the story tree, I know where we are in whatever the story circle, whatever you want to call it. I know where this is going from here on in. How you get there might be slightly different, but I know where we're going. I know where we're going with this. And so, to me, it was a really interesting, it's kind of an interesting vibe to sit there and watch something and not know quite where it's going to end up. In the last 10 minutes, I was like, okay, fine. I'm back on solid ground now. I know where we're going. And then it just does that little flick at the end just to kind of, as you say, gently kick you in the teeth and make you reevaluate everything again. And like I say, it's not the scariest horror film, and it's not the most well-constructed horror film, because like I say, there were certain bits where you're kind of like, okay, he's on his own, he's in the dark, he's gonna fucking bite it. But for the most part, I really appreciated it, and I think if I did watch it again, I don't know if I'd like it more or less. I can't work it out. I might have to watch it again at another point, sort of fairly in the fairly near future. But for me, I thought it was kind of really interesting the way it did subvert the expectations. It did leave you with like half a dozen ways. It had an ambiguity about it that you kind of like. You're like, okay, right, fine, I got it. Right, okay, David Caruso's the fucking nutter, and he's slowly breaking all these guys apart because he's lost his wife. Fine. And then there's this whole thing with Josh Lucas turning around going, oh, yeah, you got to have an exit strategy, but, you know, Gordon hasn't, and one day I'll see him crack. I can see the cracks coming. And you think, oh, okay, maybe it's Gordon. Especially when he's hearing all the weird Gordon sort of things coming from nowhere. And you think, okay, right, fine. But then you start to get this whole thing of, you know, someone attacking Josh Lucas with an Oculus, and, you know, and it's like, okay, is it a ghost story because he's disturbed all the fucking jewels and everything stuck in the wall? And then all of a sudden it's like, well, actually, it's all started to happen because these tapes have been kicked off. Because as the tapes are being listened to, suddenly everyone suffers an accident. And you just start to think, well, hold on, well, what is going on here? Is it the house affecting them? Is it Gordon going mad? Is it Mike? That's the Caruso character, isn't it? No, Phil, sorry. Is it Phil going mad? You know, what is, you know, where is this all going? And even though the whole resolution isn't 100% satisfying, what it is for me was really interesting to suddenly go, okay, that was really cool. You blindsided me with it, and that doesn't necessarily make it the best film ever, but it certainly makes it one of the more interesting ones that I've watched in recent years. I mean, Under the Shadow was a good one. The Witch is a good one. That Borderlands, which you may have seen, Jim. And,
oh yes, yeah.
Films where you kind of think, I know where this is going. Actually, I don't. Oh fuck. Hold on.
I'm lost.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, hold on. I've lost the narrative thread. It's like Sandra Bullock in Gravity. You're literally going, oh yeah, I think I can just fly between these two ships. Oh, I'm in space. I'm just going off on a tangent. Way! And narratively, that's what it did. And instead of irritating me, which most films do when they try and sort of switch genres really quickly or switch tracks, this did it in such a gradual fashion that I found myself going with it. And I hate to use this comparison because I know I'm going to get blasted for it, and I'll probably end up regretting it when I hear this podcast back in the future. But it had that Blade Runner vibe that you feel like you're watching something, but you feel like you're missing something as well. And then you watch it, and you kind of want to watch it again to kind of get what you missed last time.
Yep.
And I get a sense that there'll be layers upon layers upon layers of watching this again and going, well, actually, yeah, okay, fine. I can see where he's going mad. I can see where he's playing them because he wants to get more money out of the bonus. I can see where this guy is just sort of like running away. The whole thing about the conversation with Sally on the phone, with what was it, Mike's wife or whatever his name is, doing a runner. There was lots of little bits and pieces, and I just think, next time I'm watching that, I'm probably going to see a lot more in that photo wall that was in that room. And I'm going to see a lot more of that stuff and go, because that photo wall was a great little sort of blindsider, because you see it and you think, okay, Gordon's the guy, Gordon's a fucking nutcase, it's him. And then all of a sudden you see David Caruso's character come in and you go, oh, no, hold on, it's him. And then all of a sudden it's like it cuts and you're like, what happened? And then there's fucking Billy Ray Cyrus out in the van going, oh, I've eaten your Oreos, I'm really sorry. And you think, who's he talking to? Oh, fuck. And it just literally yanks the carpet out from under you. You think, okay, somehow this all makes sense and ties in, and I will see it again and it will all make sense, or it will all at least pull the threads back together again. And I just like that sense of uncertainty. I just like that sense of not knowing 100% what was going on, but being sufficiently invested in it to go along with the ride. So, I mean, and that's not to sort of dismiss your comments out of hand, Darren. I mean, I have to say, probably catch me on the wrong day, and it would have probably been this. I would have probably been exactly the same. Going, oh, fucking hell, but
yeah.
But to me, it was a really interesting film, and it kind of had the vibe of, as you say, Jim, it had an M.R. James kind of matter-of-factly kind of treating the horror of the situation. You just felt like, okay, maybe the building's manipulating them, maybe it's the tapes, maybe there's something in the tapes, and all the way through it. But that was it. That's how I felt. But I mean, so what were you going to say, Elton? I mean, because obviously you weren't going to say anything until we'd done our bit, and I'm kind of going to roll over and say the same old things over and over again. So,
well, it's the interesting layers that it does have, where to me, it spelt out that when they were at the very front gate with the security guard, and they turn around and say, well, that they sometimes have ex-convicts visiting instead. And
yeah,
I missed that the first time round, and then the second time round I was like, okay, Gordon's coming home. And
yeah,
I maybe I'm wrong in thinking that, but what I think from this film is that Gordon was an inmate. When it closed down, he was thrown out, and then he's coming back. And when he killed his wife, it took me. I was trying to work out when he actually killed his wife.
Yeah.
But then you realise, okay, they won the contract. He went home to celebrate, and then he killed her after spilling the pasta, I think it was.
Yeah.
And burning his leg. And so then it all starts clicking into place again. And then he's obviously the person that we see down the end of the corridor. And I just like all these layers I missed the first time round. It really pisses me off that sometimes I miss all that sort of stuff. I like the mystery in these sort of films and working it out. But it also pisses me off that I'm stupid that I don't get that first time round. And it's really frustrating sometimes. But then again, if I got it first time round, then I'll be on the other end of the scale like you. And you're just sat there going, yeah, I know where this is going. And sometimes the enjoyment might be lost because of that.
Well, that's absolutely right. I mean, that is one of those. That is one of the problems. I mean, I don't know if it's just I've seen too many films, or I've read too many books on filmmaking, or what. But I literally, like I say, I mean, when I was watching that fucking Independence Day sequel, I was literally quoting the film before the film said it. And you know, when you get to that sort of stage, you think, well, why am I watching this? And is it the film's fault that I'm finding it predictable, or is it the fact that I've just super saturated myself with cheesy sci-fi nonsense since the year dot that I can fucking know that Bill Pullman's going to say, no, I'm not saving the world, I'm saving my daughter. I mean, you know, I don't know, but you know, I think it's better to go.
I think there's a reason why, you know, this has been true for many, many years, that demographically, as you get older, people start going to the cinema less.
Yeah.
And I think it is largely because there are only so many kinds of story in the world. I know there's that old cliche, there's only 7 proper plots or whatever, and only 5 jokes and things like that. But it is true that, you know, things do have patterns. And once you've watched enough of them, you can actually sit back and start predicting where they go. And I think that's why older people just kind of get very bollocks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going, I've just seen Star Wars, that was amazing. And your dad's going, a load of old cobblers.
Yeah.
I liked it when it was Flash Gordon. You know what I mean? But, you know, it's kind of... you don't appreciate that. But as you know, as I'm entering my 40s, and, you know, I've seen a lot of films. And, you know, like you, I can, you know, you often have a sense of where a film's going. And, you know, in fairness, there are so many stories. And if you've seen enough, you know, you can probably guess in most cases, or at least have a good stab at it. But it's just kind of, it's how well they tell the story. Yeah. That if you've got time to actually start thinking about it, the film isn't gripping you. Whereas this sort of film, is the kind of story it is a cat and mouse story. It is prodding you, going, you think I'm telling you this, but you know what? I'm fucking with you. You know what I mean? And that's fun. And, you know, you can tell it's made by, you know, a very literate, you know, director who knows story beats and just knows how to just, you know, offset you enough to keep you guessing in a way that's fun. Because, you know, there is a whole genre of mystery stories where, you know, I mean, because this is sort of like a whodunit, really. If you strip away the layers of sort of spookiness and psychology, it is a whodunit story. And, you know, part of a whodunit is always the fun of, you know, can you finger the murderer before it's revealed? Yeah. And, you know, so, you know, I think this film knows that, and I think it plays with it sort of well enough. And I think it just keeps things sort of just in an interesting fashion. Because I think you can tell an old story, but if you move it to an interesting setting, an unfamiliar setting, you know, and show you something you've not seen before on that sort of level, that really can, you know, breathe new life into an old tale or an old pattern of story beats. Yeah. You know, it's like we were saying earlier with, like, you know, Under the Shadow. Yeah. I mean, that kind of story that's been done before, but you've never seen it done before like this, with these characters in that situation, with those elements thrown into the mix, and it works. I think Session 9 is like that. I can understand, though, I mean, I have sort of seen people over the years going, it did nothing for me. Yeah. And I think this is one of those sort of films that I think you need to be, you have to catch it in the right mood, and it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I mean, I think the whole ambiguity, I understand completely why as you know, for Darren, it can be just annoying.
Yeah.
It's like, set your stall out, do one thing.
Yeah.
And I've watched films that have been trying to do that, and I've had the same kind of like, just do one or the other.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, this worked really well. I mentioned M.R. James, but this really did seem to be adhering to like the Jamesian rules of storytelling.
Mm.
Do not introduce your horror too early into the story. Let us see our characters going about their business in an ordinary fashion first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is textbook the way it does it. And I mean, I think it's kind of one of the things I like about it, you get that kind of insight into what it's like working on one of these like small contractors.
Yeah.
You know, and that gives this movie like an interesting flavour. Certainly more so than any other tosh I've seen where people go to abandoned mental hospitals and normally just go there on a dare,
Yeah.
Yeah. It just gives it that kind of that layer to it that I think it does make it intriguing, and the relationships make it intriguing. And I mean, something that I found it echoes is it takes something that King is doing in The Shining.
Yeah.
It's not really in the film version, but it's more in the novel of where the lead character Jack Torrance is a flawed man.
Yeah.
And the haunting of the hotel, it's acting on him, really driving spikes into those cracks in his personality.
Yeah.
And that's what you get here. And when I thought about it afterwards, I did think, I want to rewatch this because would want to sync up of kind of the playing of the tapes and how things get notched up with as each tape gets played.
Yeah.
So I think that is the key to it all. From that last line, it gives you right, that's it. That's the piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. 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 I agree with all of that. I mean, it was a film where I do think rewatches will improve it. I do completely get. I haven't read any of the feedback or heard any of the feedback, but I wouldn't be surprised to find that we're split 50-50 between people who appreciate it and people who just went, "Oh, just be one thing."
Yeah, see, I get that. I can see the frustration from it because I suppose you are going into it thinking it's going to be a horror. Doesn't really turn out to be a horror. It's more of a mystery than anything else.
Yeah.
And you're waiting for the mystery to be solved.
Yeah.
The thing is it supernatural? Because the guys don't really come across anything supernatural. There is no supernatural. They just don't interact with anything supernatural. The only thing that we think is supernatural are the tapes, and they're just being played. But it forms a nice narration for what you're actually seeing and what's playing out. So really,
it's not even the.
Go on, Dan.
Sorry, it's not even the fact that they get played. The whole you see it when he puts the knife to the actual seal on the box, and it's like this box has been sealed for a reason, not just to keep the flaps down on it. It's the fact that it's trapped something in there with the tapes. Because as soon as he puts the knife in, you hear it go, and then somebody cuts their finger, and somebody has another accident doing something else.
Yeah.
So it's like some sort of spirit has been released.
And let's be honest, my first thought when that happened was, it's just like the Evil Dead when they listened to the tape of the researcher doing the looking for the Book of the Dead, and as he's talking, everything's slowly starting to happen. Nomine exus mortis. It's like, yeah.
So I also like Gordon because he knows that when Phil David Caruso he borrows his phone to phone someone.
Yeah,
he knows he's fucking him over because he knows that phone doesn't work.
Well, does it not work?
Well, it's the first time you see it's highlighted with home written on it. And he's clearly making bogus calls to either his family or the house, or it's just not dialing through, or it's not working at all. And by the end of the film, the phone's broken. Now, I don't think the phone's actually working.
But if that's the case, then David Caruso's character is doubly lying, and then you're into all sorts of mad
That's
theories.
what I thought. I thought he was fucking over Gordon by saying, "Where is who's the guy that took off? Hank."
Hank, yeah.
He's saying, "Oh yeah, he took off," but Gordon knows that he hasn't taken off. He's downstairs in the basement.
Yeah.
With his sunglasses on.
But then we also get that whole thing which also throws you. It's a real interesting little thing to throw you off the scent, where he phones up his wife and you can hear someone breathing on the other end of the phone. When he phones her up and he says, you know, "You're going to talk to me," when he's sitting on the tree. Outside.
Yeah.
And he's talking, he's going, "Oh, you know, Mary."
See, now, I thought that was the tapes. And he was sat on 444, wasn't he? On the grave of 444.
That's right.
Yes.
Now, could that be this? Oh, I'm getting chills. Oh, shit.
Yeah. See, where I actually thought he was, I mean, looking back on it, reversing back now, I get a sneaking suspicion that's when Simon, as he says himself when he's on the tapes, when Simon goes, you know, "Mary fall down, needed someone to help her, so I introduced myself." And that moment when Gordon's sitting on that tree, he's finally starting to slip and he's starting to get upset, and you can see he's breaking up, and that's when Mullet Mike, or whatever his name is, comes and sits down with him and says, "Oh, you know, thanks for the opportunity," and all this sort of thing. And you see him getting really upset. Just before then, he's got the phone to his ear, and you can literally hear down the line, and you think, so that is his wife. And you think, oh, well, you know, so that kind of waylays you from thinking something's actually happened to his wife. You just think she's just not talking to him. Yeah. And then he says, "Oh, he slapped her." But we now obviously know that something went further than that.
I'm scared now. I'm going to turn the light on.
Yeah, and so actually, that's the moment when Simon is on the phone introducing himself to Gordon.
Well, you just keep hearing that voice, and one thing I liked about the film, that kind of distorted voice Gordon kept hearing.
Yeah,
I kept thought, is that something he's getting over the walkie-talkies they have?
Yeah.
And it wasn't kind of until the end we go, "Oh my God, that's Simon you've been hearing all along, whispering."
Yeah.
Whispering to him.
Yeah.
Because at first, because it was kind of this kind of fractured narrative, I sort of thinking, well, is this kind of all sort of playing out kind of in Gordon's head from the end? And it's kind of these little snatches of dialogue are kind of when Phil's on the walkie-talkie to him, going, "Where are you?"
Yeah.
And, you know, they're going to come for the final confrontation, as it were, in the room with the sticky pictures. But yeah, that was kind of like, oh, I like that kind of when you hear Simon's voice and you go, oh God, that's the voice that is Simon in before, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, nice. Yeah, I mean, so when did everyone twig that Gordon was the? Shall we say? I mean, it's bloody spoilers if you're listening to this. But what the hell? When you figure that Simon/Gordon is the killer, when did it trigger for you? Because, like I say, I got wrong-footed about 3 times, and the first time was on the tree. The second time when he's listening to the voice on the phone, and I'm thinking, well, obviously he's done nothing to his wife because she's still talking to him. She's just not talking to him. And then there's that whole thing with David Caruso coming in and he seeing him with the pictures on the wall. And you kind of think, it's him. No, actually, it's him, because he had the wallet and all this kind of thing. When did you finally twig? When did the penny finally drop? Anyone who wants to step in?
Well, for me, it wasn't until you got to those pictures on the wall that I thought, it's fucking Gordon.
Yeah.
I had considered if I was getting Caruso, but the thing with this film, I wasn't sure anything had actually happened to Hank at all.
Yeah.
Other than him maybe getting a scare. And possibly Phil, I think, hired sort of 2 sort of local goons to go and, put the frighteners on him and say, you just fuck off this job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't 100% sure whether anything other than him getting a scare in the dark had happened. And then when he turned up again, I thought, yes, he's not dead.
Yeah. Well,
then I go, oh no, there's something very, very wrong with him. Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oops.
Now he's vanished. Oh fuck.
Oh shit. Yeah. Well, what about you, Dal? Because you were just stepping up there. Go on. What were you going to say? When did you twig it?
Well, considering I thought that this was going to be like some malevolent spirit wandering around offing people, it kind of, where Simon's concerned, I thought, oh, so that's the big bad malevolent spirit then, is it? That's about, I don't know, not even a third of the way through the movie. It's as they're playing the tapes and every voice is appearing apart from Simon. And it's like, right, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the entity that's going to be offing these people. So for me, I got that early on.
Right.
But where the whole Gordon thing's concerned, I didn't realise it was Gordon that was actually doing the murders. I thought it was David Caruso's character.
Yeah.
And it was only until I actually saw him start offing people when they showed him actually doing it, and that was like, oh, so he was the one.
Yeah.
Doing people in
all along. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And what about you, Elton? When did you finally twig it?
When the sunglasses were taken off Hank when he was laying on the floor.
Ah. But that was interesting because when I saw that and saw the Oculus, that threw in my mind, that threw it back to the guy who's sort of obsessing over the tapes. Because he'd already mentioned that when they were having lunch about the fact that you stick the Oculus in and you swish it left to right. It only takes about 2 seconds.
Yeah, it leaves a black eye, and then all you need is some sunglasses to cover it over.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
But it's because Gordon was having an argument with Phil at the time, wasn't he?
Yeah.
In his head. And it was just the way that David Caruso and Phil was arguing back and pointing it back at him. It just felt too much of a double over.
Yeah.
And so I was just, no, that's Gordon. I know that's way after you guys, but it's just, that was when I got it, and I suppose that's why I was enjoying it so much.
It's good. I mean, yeah, I don't think there's a wrong way to enjoy a film. I mean, I think picking it up when you pick it up is fine. It's not like a race, is it?
No.
Cool. I mean, for me, like I say, I just found myself being wrong-footed all the time. Like I say, when it became clear that Hank had been given the Oculus lobotomy treatment, I just thought, oh right, it's that guy with the tapes. It's him, because he's the one that we've kind of not explored so much. And then, like I say, then it becomes, oh, actually, it is Gordon, because he's hearing something upstairs and everyone's downstairs finding Hank, and then it's suddenly like, oh, actually, no, it's David Caruso, and then it's like, oh, actually, no, it's what's his name? It's Gordon, because obviously we see all the flashbacks and lots of people going, what kind of moments. Yeah. Overall, though, I have to say, for a film that I knew nothing about, and a film that, at any other time would have been classed as sort of trying too much too often and not getting any of it sort of together, normally I would have sort of beaten it to death. I really enjoyed it. I thought overall this was a solid, disturbing psychological thriller. Yeah.
Can I add a couple of other things?
Yeah, sure.
I like the way that it played on the tropes of normal horror movies. I think there was a bit where David Caruso came out of the building and went, oh, I've left my bag, and had to go get the bag.
Yeah.
And you're kind of thinking, oh, okay, he's got to go get the bag and he's going to be knocked off or something's going to happen. But it didn't play into that. And so I think subconsciously you see that and think, oh, it's not going to work like that. So we're in a different kind of world here.
Yeah.
So that was a good thing. The creepy tones of the piano and the reverse music as well. When he was sat outside his house, just about to walk into to see his wife and kid, it just just worked really well. I thought the music that was played over there, it's just the creepy vibes of reverse music is just weird to listen to anyway, because you have to first time think, okay, why are we listening to reverse music? Because it's so abnormal to actually hear that, and it works so well.
Yeah.
I can't remember what else I was going to say.
Can I just throw in something?
Go for it.
I forgot.
Go for it.
The hospital in the film, the Danvers State Hospital, is a real hospital. And its claim to fame is that it was referenced in 2 H.P. Lovecraft stories.
Nice.
Hickman's Model and The Shadow over Innsmouth, where various characters get driven mad and get incarcerated in there, and was the model for the famous Arkham Sanitarium, which appears in a lot more of his stories, which in turn inspired Arkham Asylum in Batman.
Well, there you go. Knock that out of the park. Good work there, Jim.
Can I just say my biggest disappointment with this film was that David Caruso didn't look towards the camera and go, "This job's turning out to be a real killer." Wow! But
yeah. I have to say.
Where was that?
I have to say.
Where was that? Come on.
Where was it? I have to say. I was waiting for a bit of moment, but it didn't happen, did it? It's just a complete disappointment, that bit. Yeah, but what can you do? Yeah.
And guys, if you ever find asbestos, don't fuck around with it like they did in there.
No,
just don't. Fuck that. Just stay well away.
It didn't strike me as the most sensible bunch of people working with asbestos. I will be honest with you.
No, just stay well clear of that. Don't touch it. Don't break it. Don't drill into it. Don't do anything with it.
Yeah. The first thing that happened when they started talking about asbestos, I suddenly thought, hang on, I've been doing drilling in my house.
Whereabouts?
in the lintel, into the wall around the windowsill. Why?
Were you going through brick?
Yeah.
Well, then you should be all right.
Cool. Okay.
Did anyone else as a child have a mortal fear of asbestos?
Yes.
Because I'm old enough. I remember when suddenly it went from being this wonder material to this massive health hazard, and suddenly whole buildings had to be shut down and stripped out of it.
Yeah, it's amazing material. It doesn't rot or anything, does it?
Yeah. Oh no, complete fireproof as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually had a chemistry set, and it came with like a little stand to go on a tripod to put your Bunsen burner on, which was a sheet of mesh with a big asbestos square on it.
Oh my God!
That was just as the reports were coming in that this shit is dangerous as fuck, which my dad promptly took off me and disposed of.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I remember that being a really scary thing, asbestos.
Oh man, yeah.
Because there's so many schools had it in particular, in the roofing slates, and there was that kind of big fear where I remember when it came out, kind of, Christ, does our school have it? Are we all dying?
Well, a lot of my jobs where I work, they used to use asbestos in the brake linings.
Good
and
Lord.
That's just in the air all the time. So I reckon I am absolutely fucked.
Yeah, you get a little pearl in your lung.
Yeah.
That's how they described it. It was like, oh my word. God almighty. Right, okay, I'll tell you what, let's wrap this up before and I think we'll listen, hear what everyone else has to say about this film. So we'll roll the jingle for the feedback.
Now put your hands up, here online, doing real fine. We're doing our podcast thing. It's called Blackdog, it's not like a joke. Is anyone there listening? What do you think of our show? Let us know by MP3 or email. Just get it to us, it ain't no fuss. We'll even read your Twitter rings. Cause if you like us or you hate us, send some feedback in. Got a geek and point to raise and put some feedback in. If you think my voice is sexy, put some feedback in. Man, we really like it if you put some feedback in.
Right, okay, so feedback time for session 9. Hello, Gordon. And we start off with Greg Madden, yes, Bones from the USS Blackdog, and he writes, Session 9. Greetings, Darren, Lee, Jim, and Elton, and the bane of my existence, Mr. Owl.
Where are you? Oh.
There he is.
Wake him up there.
Yeah, that's fair enough. By the way, once again, Darren's had to make a run for it because there's all sorts of weirdness going on over in the States, which will no doubt affect all sorts of banking institutions and people involved in banking institutions. So there he goes off. So Darren's not actually going to be doing any feedback. Anyway, Greg continues. Well, like most people, I'm going to be going into this week completely blind. I had not heard of this show, but I'd once watched it. It did seem familiar to me. I don't know if I had seen it and forgot about it, or saw another show that was similar to it, but then again, I could not predict or figure out what was to come, so probably not watched it before. When I sat down to watch Session 9, I wasn't sure what to expect since I hadn't even read the description of it. As I saw the asylum at the beginning, I was reminded of a video game called Outlast. Oh God, yes. Oh God, yeah. That
rings a bell.
That's not a game to play in the dark. Definitely not. Yeah. If anyone wants to know, I'll put up a video of a trailer for that, and just watch the trailer in the dark. That'll do you. A game I played called Outlast, which is set in an asylum. So I began to expect something supernatural to happen, whether it would be a ghost, insane slashers, or something on that line. I wasn't prepared for a descent into madness by one of the characters, or even all of the characters in this story. I do have to say that from past experience of working with crews like the one they portrayed in the show, that they got the dynamics down fairly well. So I have to give it a thumbs up for that. Also, I really like the setting of the old, decrepit, abandoned asylum, which although it is a bit overused as a setting for horror movies, it nevertheless sets you on the edge, for you know some complete craziness is about to take place. It did have a few weak spots. I wish it would have dealt with more with the recordings that I believe, he says, I believe Hank found. But it wasn't. It was Mike, wasn't it? They were very interesting, and I was truly expecting that the recordings would affect the main story, but nothing of them came other than Hank's obsession with them. Sorry, Mike's. And after he started to be obsessed, I truly expected some kind of Norman Bates-type action to happen when he kept going back to the recordings, and I was thinking that maybe Patient 444 was going to take control of him or something like that. I don't know if this was a weak spot or just a missed opportunity. So what did I think of the movie? I thought it was pretty good. Not what I was expecting, and certainly not. I wouldn't necessarily classify it as a horror show, more of a psychological suspense movie. I think it kept you guessing as to what was actually going on and who the actual person was going insane, even though most of the characters displayed signs of it throughout the movie. It also kept you wondering when somebody would go over the edge. Overall, I think it was a very good show. Maybe a little long, but I enjoyed it. Well, that wraps it up from me. So, from the USS Blackdog's medical bay, I wish you all a good week to come. Cheers, Greg Bones Madden. Well, thank you very much for that, sir. Yeah, the whole thing about who's going mad was kind of one of the interesting aspects, especially when they threw in that whole thing with nyctophobia, with the guy who had fear of the dark, and I thought, I wonder if he's going off his head as well. But that was apparently the only bit where they kind of went, yep, he's scared of the dark, he's in the dark, he's not in the dark anymore, and that's that.
He was always shot in light as well, which I quite liked. There was a scene when he first mentioned that he didn't like the dark, and he's in the room where it's brilliantly bright, and the guy he's speaking to is in like a dingy part of a different part of the room through the doorway, and it just nice little eye candy there.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you very much for that, Greg. Yeah, not a lot really to say. I mean, you kind of hit your nail on the head with the feedback there, sir. I think it's I don't know if it was too long. And as you say, I was expecting Mike, not Hank, but Mike to flip his lid because he was obsessing about the recordings. But yeah, I'll tell you another thing, another game it reminded me of. With that opening scene, especially the opening shot where the chair just stuck in the light and it just turns upside down, was Silent Hill. If anyone's played that,
oh yes,
yeah, it's got a very Silent Hill vibe to the whole thing as well, sort of that run-down, grimy vibe to the whole thing. But yes, and I would recommend any PC players who fancy a good scare, do give Outlast a go. It's well worth a go, but do play it in the dark for full effect and with your headphones on. And when you shit yourself, don't blame me. So that's all I'm saying. It definitely knocks Alien Isolation into a cocked hat. Let's put it that way. Yeah, exactly. So let's move on. So thank you very much for that, Greg. And Jim, who do you have first?
We have Dr. Fred Lubno, a.k.a. Dr. Scum.
Ah, and what does the good doctor have to say?
Well, he writes, subject line, Session 9. It's the asbestos we can do.
Nice.
Hello, Blackdog crew. Hope all is well. I've seen this film once before, and to be honest, I dozed off a few times. While Session 9 is a quiet, moody, slow-paced film, I can't solely blame... Put my teeth back in. I can't solely blame the movie. I remember being exhausted that night. Thus, I was happy to hear this movie was on the list to be reviewed. It gave me an excellent excuse to give it another chance. For me, Session 9 is an underappreciated horror film, relying more on character development, mood and atmosphere than gore, shocks and jump scares. While ambiguous endings can be frustrating, I think in the case of Session 9, the ambiguity works and is actually quite effective. For me, Session 9 feels like the Blair Witch Project without being a found footage film. It has an air of realism of five guys just trying to get a job done as quickly as possible. Additionally, this realism means that the main characters don't act stupid, as is typical in the case of a slasher film, and they don't readily accept the supernatural as they typically do in a paranormal film. In addition, just a note, Danvers State Hospital was a great spot for a horror movie. It is interesting to note that I think the tendency of men to hold and contain their feelings and fears increased the tension and led to the resulting happenings, supernatural or not. If the work crew was all female, the situation may have been very different. My one criticism is that the final act / last 20 minutes of the film seemed a little rushed, but overall I found the film eerie and leaves one wondering if the Danvers State Mental Hospital was haunted, or if the stress of the job and the private life got the best of the work crew. Again, enjoyed the film. Thank you, Black Dog, and looking forward to next week's film. Fred, Dr. Scum, Lubno.
Thank you very much for that, Dr. Scum. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
so there's a PS. PS, rented the film easily on DVD with my US Netflix account.
Nice. Nice. Okie dokie. So there you go. I keep forgetting he's in the States because I suddenly thought, how did you get the VPN to work and then also get the film delivered overseas? But actually, no, of course, he's in the bloody States. Yeah, well, thank you very much for that, sir. Yeah, do you agree with him? The end was a little rushed when it suddenly started throwing up like Gordon going on a bit of a murderous rampage.
They could have spun it out a bit more, but I kind of think it was just about right.
Yeah.
More or less. I think once everything starts to kick off, you've really got to get to the finish line because then your ambiguity starts to disappear.
Yeah, and everyone's catching up with you in terms of the way the story's unfolding, I guess, yeah.
I mean, one of my problems kind of with, say, like a lot of genre TV is that it breaks down just too neatly around the ad breaks to a 3-act structure of Act 1, what's going on? Act 2, everyone runs around. Act 3, it all blows up and gets sorted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that third act, you go, yeah, no, come on.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, thank you very much again, Dr. Scum. Thank you, Jim. And let's move on to the next piece of feedback. So, Elton, who do you have first?
I have Andrew, the Swedish chef, Whitaker.
Ah, the Swedish chef, is he bringing the session 9?
Yes, he is.
Is he going to stick the crazy person in the chair?
Going to talk about the film that he just saw.
Is he going to talk about the film he just saw and stuck an oculus in his eye? Stick the oki in the eye. Oki eye, eye oki.
Okay.
Oki eye. Oki eye the new.
Anyway,
Sorry, carry on.
I don't want to hint that, we should be cracking on, but, anyway.
But let's crack on. Yeah, go on, carry on.
Dear Blackdog Gang,
Yes.
I saw Session 9 2 or 3 years ago
Right.
and haven't rewatched it since. So something of an impressionistic review from memory.
Oh, hold on. What? Time out. Sorry, so he hasn't watched it?
2 or 3 years ago he did, but not this time.
Oh. Swedish chef. We is sad for you. We set the precedent last year, didn't we? With all the other people going, oh, I haven't seen this film this week, but sorry, dude.
You need to see the film.
Yeah, that's the whole point of a rewatch. Bums.
That's when the rose-tinted specs come off.
Or on.
Or the shit-covered goggles go on.
Oh, Andrew. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. Oh, it's not admissible in a court of law. The court of Blackdog.
The kangaroo court of the Blackdog.
The kangaroo court, yeah. Yeah, Skippy has said no. Oh, man. Oh, see, it's usually easy when people do this, and it's like an MP3. We can just go rip and cut it short. But
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Normally, I might even just let it through, but we've done it to Pete Hammond, and we've done it to Jack P. Starro, and we've done it to a couple of other people who sort of say they haven't watched the film, but actually cut it short. Oh.
Let this be a lesson to anyone else feeding back. You need to watch the film.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I feel bad, but rules is... Oh, I feel like a cunt now. But if I suddenly go, oh, no, go and carry on reading it, and then I'm going to get Jack P. Star of Phil... old Hammond. Stack of Hammond coming at me with a fucking quad bike or something.
Yep, he'll be balancing shit on you.
Yeah, he will. He will. He'll be using me like Buckaroo, he will. Riding me up and... No, never mind. Sorry, Andrew. We've got to put the kibosh on that one. Ow.
Those tapes will have to remain in the sealed box.
Yeah, put it down with Ayla and Lamont in the box labelled "Do Not Open." There you go. He can in the archives. I'm sorry, Andrew. Oh, what a...
Hang on. Let's seal his feedback up. There we go.
Expert Foley work there, dude. Have you just stuck yourself to your own microphone?
No.
Have you stuck the underside of your nose up to your forehead like a little piggy?
No.
Why not?
No. I'm not a child, crying out loud.
So what have you done with that sellotape?
To my face.
Nice.
Quickly, moving on.
Well, sorry about Andrew. Yeah, the rules is the rules, and people would get pissed off if we didn't follow them because they've been sufficiently burnt by them themselves. Sorry. Don't hate us. Okay, well, let's move on. The next piece of written feedback is from George Cookieman Cook, and he's written, Gordon is a psycho. And the rest of the feedback goes like so. Good evening, Black Doggers and Feathered Fiend. There you go. Fucking Mr. Owl, what? Why? Why is he taking so long? He's just such a slacker these days.
He's been drinking heavily tonight. He's worried about the election.
Well, fair enough, yeah. I bet he voted Trump and all. So anyway,
Worry about being kicked out of his barn.
yeah, exactly. He's going to build a wall around his barn, keep those sparrows out. And so, George carries on. Okay, so this is an interesting choice, as I haven't seen it in years. So it's going back to this was intriguing. First thing that struck me was how it was filmed, as at times it just didn't sit right with me at all and looked cheap. Now I found out that this is because it was HD 24 frames a second camera. Very strange. Yeah, it was a handheld camera that they did it with. Because basically, and I'm just reading this off a couple of pages here, but the director actually just saw the site, saw that he could get in, and decided he wanted to make a film based in that area and just went in with a camera. So, anyway, so he just got a cheap camera. Anyway, on to the movie itself, continues George. The opening credits were suitably creepy and set the tone nicely. When Jeff turned up, I immediately wanted him to die. He was outacted by the wheelchair in the corridor, and his mullet did him no favours. Yeah. I could go along with that.
Business at the front, party at the back.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't there a quote in the film about that as well?
There is, yes.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good bit of dialogue.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, you know films are old when they all have to share a mobile phone. Yes, they do. And Mike's cooked aborted fetus story was very nicely done. I was devastated that Phil, David Caruso, didn't put on his sunglasses and didn't put them on in an over-dramatic manner. Cue the button, Lee. Hold on. I've got to do it just once. Hold on. That was way too loud. Whoa! That just blew my fucking ears out, that did. Oof. Actually, that's a bit... Ow. My ears are actually bleeding, I think. Let's not do that again. Anyway, George continues. I think this was the only film where smooth jazz was used to crank up the tension when Phil could hear it in the tunnels. And that lobotomy. Ah! Simon's last line in the movie in the Session 9 tape, I live in the weak and the wounded, implied he was a demon who had taken over Gordo and was very nicely done. I really enjoyed this and hope it scores highly on the Elton potato meter. That I thought Peter Mullen and David Caruso, cue music Lee. Okay, hold on. I think I've got it down now. That was better. Still a bit too loud. I've lost the bloody feedback. There it goes. I thought David Caruso and Peter Mullen were particularly strong. One slight criticism, however. How big was the pot that Wendy was cooking the pasta in? Was she feeding 5,000 people? I'm surprised Gordo had a leg after the contents of that bastard had poured over him. Yeah, he did have a bit of a massive burn, but... Anyway, okay, now I'm just being picky. I'll leave it there. Cheers, fellas. George, Cookie Man, cook. Well, thank you very much for that, sir. Yes.
There was a lot of water in that bowl.
Yeah. Did we actually see it? Because I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah.
Really?
What, the actual, where she's cooking? She walks in through the door with the baby, and you're left with the sound of a bubbling pot, and it's right in front of you.
Oh, do you know what? I was watching this film on my phone, and basically, my phone had a little conniption, and 1 second it just seemed to slow down. It must have slowed down and completely skipped that scene. I could hear it, but it was playing over him looking through the car window.
Yeah, there's a couple of shots of it, and there's also a shot where he's outside and you don't see her as well.
Ah.
And you can see the water just over the top of the pot.
No, see, because my phone did an absolutely splendid edit then, because as it's playing the flashback, which I presume you saw, you get it like a voiceover playing while he's looking out of the car, and then it sort of goes black as she does the no kind of thing. It goes black, and then you cut to him in the house looking out of the window.
Right.
Because my phone literally just slowed down, stopped, and the audio kept playing at the real speed, and then it just jumped to like the scene straight after it.
Right.
Oh, blimey. Okay, well, I need to go and watch it again. I've completely missed a whole. How much other stuff have I missed? Oh my word!
This is why I enjoyed the second time round.
No, maybe I'll enjoy it more the second time round because I've seen more of it. Fucking hell.
Added extras with pasta.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, added pasta. Well, thank you very much for that, George. Glad you liked it. I'm glad.
I say, on the subject of Simon and what Simon is.
Yes.
I have read up in the past on cases of genuine multiple personality disorder. And there's more than a few psychologists who actually they treat the condition essentially like it is a possession because that seems to work, and more than a few have sort of wondered of actually where are these other personalities come from, and it's actually some very weird and creepy stuff. I mean, I know kind of in fiction it's kind of the split personality is 10 a penny. In real life, it's very rare, but when it happens, it is bloody strange.
Yeah.
And you have these completely alternative personalities come out who can speak other languages that the inhabiting host can't, and really strange things. And they found actually, if you sort of treat these things actually as essentially mental parasites, that's the best way to actually resolving and breaking them down. Obviously, they're not saying they are demons, but they found that approach actually works more than anything else. That because they do seem to be, in some cases, a completely alien aspect. So it's very strange stuff. Very strange indeed.
Okay. That's interesting because I mean, I don't know how much this is rubbish or whatever, but there's lots of like anecdotal stuff on the making of this film, where David Caruso thought he saw someone outside the window.
Oh, don't.
Yeah. And also,
don't, fuck off.
No, I'm seriously. Hold on. Where is it? I'll find the quote because he actually quotes it. Hold on.
Right. Okay. Well, in respect to the roast potato rating on this, I suppose when I saw the person at the end of the hallway, it rose quite rapidly to a 7. But
nice.
but subsequently, that has gone down, that scene. But everything else around it has really escalated.
Yeah.
And now the second watch, I reckon the third watch would be worse because you're talking about demons. I didn't really think about demons, and that's kind of spooky as well. And holy shit. And now you're just going to talk about stuff that happened off site, and it's fuck, you're really fucking with me.
Yeah, it was pretty full on. I mean, hold on, I'm trying to find where are we? There was a whole thing about because they spent a bit. Look, here we go. Actor David Caruso reports in the official production notes that he saw something pass in front of the window when shooting inside the Bonner Medical Building of the Danvers State Hospital. I didn't want to tell anyone, he said, because people would start looking at me strangely. Meanwhile, actor Peter Mullen also reports strange happenings on set. He claims that while filming on the roof, a voice in his head told him to jump off just to see what would happen. Mullen said that the building brought out a kind of morbid, kind of overactive curiosity within the entire cast.
Right. with the just jump off. Haven't we all had that?
No.
No? Right. Okay. Fuck. Because sometimes if I'm on a tall building and I don't feel the urge to jump off, but something in my head is saying, I wonder what would happen if you did.
Yeah.
It's not a case of I'm going bonkers and I might do this. It's just a case of, I wonder if I did this, it'll be so easy just to do it. And I get that quite a lot.
Well, and that was and this podcast.
No,
is
so I kind of
I
understand that. I mean, because as I've got older, I have got more afraid of heights and have had like vertigo attacks. Whereas when I was younger, I didn't give a stuff, but now it's kind of when I get near the edge of something, it's kind of I just know how easy it would be to go over the edge, and that sort of sends me a bit funny. And I'm gonna have to get back away from the edge because I don't feel steady on my feet all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've never had that feeling, or it's with other stuff as well. I think I've said this in feedback with Jim, but you'll be driving along, and then all of a sudden I'm driving. What the hell? I'm actually driving. It's kind of an out of body.
Yeah, a sudden realization kind of thing.
Yeah, or I'm actually seeing. I can see.
Yeah, it's also like that bit when you how can I say, when you become aware of your own breathing, and you're like, hold on, I'm breathing. What's going on here? Hold on, I've got to make sure I breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. And you're kind of forcing yourself to do it because it's just like, whoa, okay.
Or do it next time you're walking along, and just to think, I'm walking.
Okay, well, you've clearly gone mental, but otherwise, all good.
Them tapes, man.
Yeah, you should.
Box was opened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, hold on. What was it? Oh, hold on.
Where do you live, Simon?
I live in the weak and the wounded. Dog.
Nice.
You fuckers.
Enjoy switching all your lights off, Elton. just don't look back at the window, just in case there's now a shape there.
Oh.
That's the worst. Anyway, moving on. Thank you very much for that, George. Thank you for your feedback, sir. Good feedback as always. And Jim, who do you have next?
Next we have Catherine Oryushkina.
Oh, Oryushkina.
Andreyushkina.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You only took 2 passes at it. I think last week and the week before I took about 12. So you're doing well.
We're getting better.
You're definitely getting better. Yeah.
Anyhow, Catherine writes, "Hello, Blackdog crew. Well, I'm back from my 1-week hiatus imposed by those nasty overlords we call work and their dreaded overtime. Although I missed the classic Hellraiser, I get to do something of a rarity for me, which is give you guys feedback on a horror movie that I do not know much about. Now, much like Mr. Moon, I love the horror genre, and I am proud to say that I've seen a huge amount of these shows, so this week particularly got my interest. So I might not have been tell you what my pleasures are, but I do get to dive into a new movie for me. Now, without further ado, let's get down to business. Now, Session 9 was one of those movies that is, well, a bit of a hit and a miss affair for me. I can see what they're going for, but I think they fell short. Mainly because the recording had no impact on the main story, or at least I didn't think it did. I don't know, maybe I missed something, but then again, I was never one for these types of horror shows. There are a few parts of this movie that did bug me, and these are very minor things. I hated how they abruptly cut away from scenes where someone's being attacked. I know they were trying to keep the identity of the killer a mystery, but I felt there were better ways of doing this than they did. Also, I did not like the way they seemed to cram all the killing into the last part of the movie. It felt to me that they decided they need to wrap the movie up quickly, so they said, okay, everyone's dead except the killer. There you go, story over. It was kind of like when I was a kid in school trying to write a story for class and needed to finish it quickly. If you know what I mean.
Yes.
To wrap up, I would say it was okay, but nothing special, I thought. It had a lot of potential, but just missed the mark. Well, I'm looking forward to the next show and keep up the good work. P.S. Next week, I thought long and hard on how to pronounce my last name, and I came up with a much easier solution than the normal way. And that is, I'm being married in a little over 2 weeks, so I figure, what the heck? How about just using my fiance's last name? Now, I know it might be a tricky name, but I'm confident that you guys will not murder this one. And no, I'm not marrying Mr. Owl. Just kidding about murdering my last name. You did a very good job at pronouncing it. So until next week, hugs. Catherine, the girl with no nickname.
Yeah.
Andrey Ushkina. I guess it'd be best to break it down, which she did for me, thankfully.
Yep.
But now you can lose my soon-to-be last name of Cliff.
Cliff.
Yeah.
Well, that's. I think I can handle that one.
I think we'll be all right with that.
Yeah. I say so. Catherine Cliff.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. And she's I like the fact she's adopted the girl with the girl with no nickname, or the feedbacker with no nickname. that's almost the girl with no nickname. That's the nickname in itself.
That'll do nicely, I think.
Yeah, I almost need to get a soundboard up with that bit from Good, the Bad, the Ugly. You know, when Clint Eastwood appears and it's like just have that little whistle when for her feedback. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for that, Catherine. Sounds like you're a bit more on sort of Darren's side of these things. And again, the rushed ending with the deaths sounds very much like Dr. Scum's kind of criticism of it. And I mean,
this was a low budget film, and so possibly the script did have a bit more, a bit longer, or deliberately sort of, as you do if you particularly, I think this is probably one of his Brad Anderson's first features, and you play it safe to know what you can actually confidently get in the can.
Yeah, you do the banker, so you get the stuff done that's essential, and then anything else is gravy until the money runs out. Yeah. Well, thank you anyway, Catherine. It's good feedback, and I'm glad you sent some in. It was good feedback, and like I say, it's a shame that Darren's not around to listen at the moment, because I think he'd agree pretty much with everything you said. Brilliant. Well, we're moving on then. And so we have one last piece of written feedback, and who is that, Elton?
Got Cole the Bastard Hurley.
Aha. Okie dokie. And what does he have to say?
The subject is, I missed the mystery. No, I missed the misery. Sorry.
Okay.
Balls that one up already. Fucking hell.
Good work. Good work.
Dear gents.
Loving your work.
Yeah, cheers, man. Thanks. As of the time of writing, the American election hasn't had a winner yet. So, so far as I know, a fascist, xenophobic dictator could be in office by the end of the week. In all honesty, it helps set the stage for this film quite nicely. Now, Session 9 is a film that I know I hadn't seen before, and I didn't know if I'd heard of it before either. I might have, but I don't know for certain. Either way, I went into this film super blind, and to be honest, I enjoyed it. It's pretty good, not fantastic, but pretty enjoyable. My love for horror films has been well documented on this podcast, so I don't need to establish whether or not I like them or not. Probably the best thing about this flick is how tense it is. It's not even scary, really. It's just super tense. Filming might have been a fucking nightmare, I imagine. Although I'd love to go to the abandoned hospital if it's still standing. I'm not going to go there without either a group or a gun or both. Can you tell that I'm an American yet? He continues. Anyway, this was a good pick for me. I hope that everyone else liked it just as much as me, and I know that you guys will be going to have a short episode this week, just going off how hard it was to fucking find this thing. Take care, guys. Cole. And he's got a PS here as well. I called out Jim for being predictable last week, not because, that was that's what he's going to pick or anything. No, there's another reason. Jim, your picks are becoming obvious because they are all fucking weird as shit. Black Christmas, Hellraiser, Jacob's Ladder, Reanimator. Jesus, man. It's like you're trying to put up a neon sign saying, I'm going to pick something off the ball, fucking weird and unconventional for this cast season or something. Granted, I don't know why I'm complaining. Jim's choices are usually the best ones. So, hey, anyway, so ends the feedback.
Brilliant.
That's it. So with one fell swoop, he's just bigged up Jim and cut everyone else down. So
yeah. Well, there you
cheers,
go.
Man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well,
cheers, man.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. There you go. Don't worry, we're British. This is what we do. We take a positive, turn it into a negative. That's how it works.
Yep.
We've had nearly 1,000 years worth of history of this. To perfect it, as a thing. So anyway, thank you very much for that, Cole. Yeah, good feedback, sir.
Yeah. It was actually generally my horror season picks are really just something so we have a balanced diet.
Yeah.
On previous years, I've picked. I think last year we had one from different decades, which influenced what I picked.
Yeah.
And then I think another year it was kind of we had a ghost, we had a serial killer, we had a zombie, and so I picked picked Mad Scientist or something like that. So I generally always pick last in the seasons of horror.
Yeah.
And then I can just slip something in that gives us a nice spread, so we're not doing like 4 slashers or 3 ghost movies or whatever. It's a very diet, but yeah. Looking back, they are actually all about extreme and weird, aren't they?
Yeah, well, that's good though. That's the point. That's why we got 4 of us, because you know what? We've all got, shall we say, specific tastes, and I think it's safe to say, you know, and that brings a little extra soupçon of flavour when it comes to picking the films, because otherwise, you know, if it was just me all the time, you know, you get nothing. You just get 25,000 episodes of Alien and Blade Runner a week. So there you go. What are you laughing?
Next week, Blade Runner.
Next week, Blade Runner and Alien. Yeah, double bill. So anyway, thank you very much for that, Cole. Glad you liked the film. And that's the end of the written feedback. So we're moving on now to the MP3. And the first bit of MP3 is Leopold von Gruppenhans, the belly stapler Michael Kent Cornett, who does the blog, which is dustandcorruption.blogspot.com, who is feeling a bit down, I just noticed on Facebook, and I hope things turn up for you, sir, very, very soon. If only in a presidential way, if nothing else. But I'm sure something good will come. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to go into blasting his life out all over the bloody internet if he's not sharing it with everyone. So, yes, let's move on. Let's hear what he has to say about Session 9.
Hello, Black Doggers. Good evening to Lee, Darren, Jim, and Elton. This is Mike Cornett, the belly stapler, your man in Baltimore. Session 9. Okay. I saw this movie years and years ago. I rented it from my local video store after hearing a number of good things about it. And I have to be honest, when my first viewing of it didn't leave much of an impression. In fact, as I went into this, watching this a second time around, and realizing I remembered jack shit about this movie. It did not make an impression on me the first time. So I thought, maybe this isn't as good as people were making it out to be. But all I can say is I must not have been paying attention. Something was going on, because this time around I'm watching it, and I am so absorbed in it. It's weird how much that passage of time will make a difference. Yeah, it was really interesting. It's really refreshing to see something that is smart and ambiguous, and not just, oh, we're being ambiguous just to fuck with you, but ambiguous because there's a lot that we just can't figure out. I was watching this and thinking, is the guy just bonkers, or is there something supernatural going on? And as far as I can tell, I think they meant this to be supernatural, but they wanted it to be up to your imagination. So that was kind of cool. And it also kept reminding me of a trip that I made with some friends up to see the Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia, which, for those of you who don't know, because you freaking Brits, what the hell do you know? Love you. The Eastern State is a abandoned prison in the middle of the city of Philadelphia. That actually stood empty for years, but has recently reopened as a museum, both of the site itself, but also giving exhibits about prisons, about the growth of prisons in America, about the culture of prisons, all that kind of stuff. So it actually is really cool. Parts of it are still closed off because it's unsafe, and it just looked so much. The Denver State Hospital there looked so much like the Eastern State, with the chipping paint and the weird little thing, all that kind of stuff. It was really, really reminiscent of that. So, yeah, if you ever come over to the U.S. and you're in the Philadelphia area, go visit Eastern State. It's memorable. Other than that, it's a pretty good movie. Nice to see all that. Nice to see some ambiguity going on. Nice to see some decent acting. The one thing that bothered me was that Gordon, his accent came and went, and I'm like, is he supposed to have an accent? Is it just slipping? What's going on? It was really kind of weird because he didn't always sound overtly Scottish, but it crept in, and I'm like, what's going on? That was the one problem I had with that. But story-wise, it was really cool. So anyway, it's Monday night. Tomorrow here in the U.S. is a big day. I am going to get fucking shit-faced drunk. Tell my UK friends, please clear off a couch for me, just in case. I'm confident, but still. Anyway, love to you all. Mwah. Bye.
Bye. Don't worry, my couch is free. I'm sure if it comes to it and you have to make a run for the border, just get on a boat. There's plenty of spaces. Darren's got space on his sofa. I know that for a fact. Don't worry. But the only problem is, I'm just saying this now. If all of our American listeners decide to do that, there's only one space on one sofa. So, don't,
I have one sofa too, so.
You have one sofa too?
I have one sofa, TOO.
Ah, right, there you go. Okay, cool. So there you go. So we can accommodate 3 Americans, 3 whole Americans. What about you, Jim?
I have a sofa and I do have a camp bed I could put up in the office.
Okay, so that's 5. 5 Americans. We can, if Trump gets in and it all turns to shit, 5 Americans we can offer safe passage and shelter to.
Hang on, is the office the Great Library of Dreams, or is that another room?
It's a bit woolly.
Yeah.
Wherever there is piles of my books, there are doors to the Great Library of Dreams, and there are fucking books everywhere in this house.
Yeah, I wouldn't try asking him that. To be honest,
Elton. Yeah, that's like the staircase in Harry Potter, isn't it?
Yeah,
it just keeps changing.
Yep. You just don't know. You just don't know where it's all going. Anyway, right. Well, thank you very much for that, sir. I'm glad you liked the film. Yes. Yeah, I as we've already spoken about, I think ambiguity in this is actually really cool. And as far as Peter Mullen's accent, that's just his accent. I don't think he was trying to do an American accent. Do you, guys?
I didn't notice. No.
I did notice his accent did seem to be sliding, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, he's Scottish.
Yeah.
It's kind of... Well, I suppose it's got kind of weird, I don't know, sort of transatlantic drift. That, when you live somewhere, you pick up a trace of an accent and of the local accent sort of unconsciously. And so...
Yeah.
But yes, yeah. I think also it's interesting is kind of, as I say, we got 2 for the price of 1 there in the reactions front.
Yeah.
So as I said, I think this is a film you have to catch it in the right mood.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, there you go. Cool. Sorry, I'm very aware every time I've been listening to the podcast because I've been doing things and I'm sort of thinking, I keep catching myself listening to myself going, you're saying the same thing you said 20 minutes ago. Stop. Stop saying it again.
Stop getting paranoid.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, thank you very much for that, Michael. And again, if you want to read more of Michael's stuff, then do head on over to his blog, which is dustandcorruption.blogspot.com. And like I say, if he's got shit-faced drunk, it may be for a reason by now. By the time you hear this, let's hope not, eh? So yes, send him paracetamols. So right, let's move on to our last bit of feedback, and that is Drew and Tracy, and let's hear what they thought of Session 9.
So that was
Session 9.
Session 9.
Who the fuck came up with this film? I have to ask that question right here, right now, because I've never heard of it before. Have you?
Nope.
And how this was slipped into the indeterminate session, I have no fucking idea. But whoever's choice this was, it was bad.
Do you reckon? I really enjoyed that.
You need to check yourself out then. What the fuck was this film about?
Well, that's a very good question. This is a film that you need to look at the Wikipedia straight afterwards to understand it.
And we did say that, didn't we? It was like, oh no, we get it. And then it was like, oh no,
we thought we got it. To like about.
Oh no, yeah. This is going to happen. And it was like, what the fuck? About 4 times we were like, I have no idea what is going on with this.
No, only towards the end.
No.
I mean, I was like, yeah, got this house. About 10 minutes when I was like, no, I got this house.
Exactly. I was a little bit like, this film was very slow. It took so long to get into like anything happening. And this chair, I was thinking, oh, it's going to be like a saw. Something's going to happen with this chair. And then nothing happened. And then it was a bit, what? Nothing.
I really loved it. I thought it was great.
You need to sort yourself out.
Yeah,
I was just a bit like, I'm going to
There's
go
hardly any gore or blood or anything.
Yes, but that's the point. What was the point of all like the black? I'm assuming valuable silver dollars falling out the fucking wall.
I don't
Nothing
know.
happened with that. He's obviously Gordo has got like an obvious like domestic violence issue going on here, and then nothing kind of followed out. Of that. I didn't.
I'm only
get
guessing.
it.
I'm going to guess what happened here. Was Gordon a patient now, and he got cured, but then he went back to his wife, and he had a child, and it put him under high stress, and he had an accident. And he burnt himself, and that released the person that he used to be back, and then he killed them, and that has just sent him on some kind of like megalomaniac kind of path of killing people.
Okay,
I don't know.
Obviously, you were tuned into this film.
I don't know whether
wasn't.
that is what happened, but that is what I took from it.
That's fine.
I don't know, but
I
really enjoyed it. This is the kind of film, like, even if I didn't understand it, it was enjoyable. Tension was there. You're saying you didn't enjoy it, but you was like pooing your pants through like 90%.
Because I was waiting for something to happen. I was like, fucking hell, something is going to like really go.
So what? Hold
buzz
on.
out in a
So
minute.
you're saying for 90% of the time he's on the edge of your seat, like worried what's going to happen, and because it didn't happen, you didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed the experience. You know, I didn't understand it, but it was a nice experience of watching it. At the end of it, I'm like, okay, I didn't quite understand it, but it was a good thing to watch.
Let me just tell you one thing. There is nothing good about being on the edge of your seat, fucking stress levels booming for like 90 minutes, and then nothing comes of it. It's like having like a 90-minute.
You need an ending.
Yeah.
Closure.
It's like, I can't even analyse it, but it was just like there was fucking no closure. It was just boring. They could have come up with something better.
It was not boring. It was great.
Yeah, but they didn't explain the 444 grave and the 444 tape and the Simon and the Mary and the whatever. It was just like, you need to wrap it up.
Yes, yes, they might need to wrap it up, but I just think if you've enjoyed watching it, you see, difference between me and you, I've enjoyed watching it, I can take that away from it. I'm going to need to look at Wikipedia to see what I enjoyed now, but I think the experience is good, but you're saying because it had no closure, you don't know what happened, you don't enjoy it.
Well, exactly.
I think you did enjoy it, but just you're just feeling sore because you don't know what you enjoyed.
No, I think I'm being a typical woman. I expected something out of it and I didn't
get it.
You
needed a climax.
Exactly.
You didn't get it. Oh, it's my life all over. She went in there. I enjoyed it. You didn't. Oh, it's like so much in life.
Story of my life. Love you. Bye.
Ta-da.
Wow. There you go.
No
I'm glad
prizes
there was
for
an
coming
Oculus in that
second.
house.
Wow.
The Blackdog domestic. Bloody hell.
Yeah, there you go. That was well, hopefully we've explained it to a certain degree in the podcast. As to the last bit of TMI over there, when it was yeah, I enjoyed it. I didn't. Story of my life. Wow. Well,
Too much information.
Too much information. May I suggest maybe for Christmas, one or both of you get something from the Ann Summers catalogue? I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. You never know. Wow. Well, anyone else want any sort of marital advice? Come to the Blackdog podcast. Send your request in to blackdog@geekplanetonline.com.
Well, I'm hoping that this episode, for them at least, will be one of them episodes where they listen to it, listen to our views of it, and then go back, rewatch it at a certain point, or maybe just remember it in a couple of years' time.
Yeah.
And then rewatch it with our thoughts in mind. Because I quite enjoy that. But if I don't understand a film, sometimes I will seek out a podcast and listen to that, and then go back and watch it. And I do that with TV shows.
Yeah,
it's
quite...
it makes it more enjoyable.
Yeah, or as Drew said, basically, go and read the wiki to read what he's actually enjoyed.
Yeah, I don't know what I enjoyed, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, so I'm just going to read up about it to make sure. Yeah, nice. Cool. Well, thank you very much for that, guys. That was a feedback and a half. I mean, there was closure. There was a wrap up, really, wasn't there? I mean,
it's one of those though. You had to have picked up on the threads and pulled it together.
Yeah,
I mean, it's one of those. I know, kind of the famous ending of that last shot of the Blair Witch Project. Somebody went, "Huh?"
Yeah.
Well, the people who had put it together went, "Oh my god!" And I think this is one of those, and it's just this is a very subtle film, and I can see why it could get missed.
Okay. Well, anyway, thank you very much for that, Drew. Thank you very much for that, Tracy. I was going to say glad you liked it, but I can't really say that one of you did and the other one did, but doesn't know why, and then it turned into a domestic, and
oh, it was both sides of the coin in one feedback. That was good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get both ends of that. Well, anyway, so thank you very much to everyone. Thank you so much for sending in feedback. Thank you to everyone for that. And thank you so much for listening. And now it's time to wrap it up and tell you what our next film is. Well, our next film, we are returning back to the wonderful world of Educating Elton. Yes, we are going to go back and we are going to get another film which you kind of think pretty much everyone did see or should have seen, but in typical fashion, Elton hasn't.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we are going to watch next week L.A. Confidential, a film noir starring Guy Pearce and was it Russell Crowe and Farmer Barlimore from Babe and Kevin Spacey, and I think this is a really cool. Oh, and Kim Basinger, and I think it's a really cool film noir, sort of reimagined for the modern audiences. And Jim, have you seen this film?
I'm not sure I have.
Wow. Okay.
It's one of those. This was much talked about. I'm fairly sure I must have seen it, but this sort of, I'm not sure if I have or not, or just read loads about it.
No, that's cool.
Because I'm drawing a blank. What year did this come out? Was this?
I think this was. Hold on, I will just find out. Man, look something on internet. L.A. Confidential came out in 1997.
Okay. Yes. It was around that period I saw a lot of films that I don't remember seeing, if you know what I mean.
No, that's
it was troubled time in my life.
Right, fair enough.
And there's a few films every now and then you come across when I go, I'm not sure if I've seen it or not. I feel sure I have, but I can't actually remember much about it.
You were in the room when it was on.
Yes. So, this to all intents and purposes, it's probably a Mystery Monocle for me.
No, that's fine.
Although when I watch it next week, it might all flash back and go, oh, yes, I remember seeing it. But it's one of those, when you know a lot about a film, it's much talked about. You can sometimes you get that weird sense of you've seen a film when you've not seen it.
No,
You know what I mean?
Totally.
You can't separate the bits from what you read and what you saw.
Yeah, no, it's totally cool.
There you go.
Yeah, it's based off a book by James Elroy as well. So
You're pretty sure I've read the book, so I read a lot of James Elroy, so
yeah.
that also confuses the matter.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough. So yeah, and it still to this day holds a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. To this day.
That's pretty good.
So it's pretty solid, and an 8.3 on IMDb. So there you go, and a 90% on Metacritic. I'm just reading off the internet, obviously. Well, for me, I thought this was a really interesting, clever neo-noir film. I'm not always into the 50s sort of noir sort of films. They have to either be really good or not bother, as far as I'm concerned, because otherwise they just fall into tropes. And you know what we were saying earlier about sort of like you watch a film and you go, well, I know where this is going right from like the first frame. And in this case, this was twisty-turny twistiness, and I really enjoyed it, which is why I picked it. I'm pretty sure Darren's seen it. But anyway, so, okay, it might just be me who likes this. But anyway, so what about you guys? Go and send in your feedback for LA Confidential to blackdog@geekplanetonline.com. And, do join in with discussions outside of the podcast on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast. So, that's about it. But before we go, obviously, it's time for our co-hosts to share their wares. And Jim, would you like to tell everyone what's going on and where they can find your stuff?
Well, it's on my old show, Hypnagoria. I'm delving into the murky world of early 70s Satanism flicks. Pretty much rounding off a kind of a running theme I've had going on throughout the year in this my own show. And this week, on the episode just dropped, I'm looking at the Mephisto Waltz, starring a distinctly ungenial Alan Alda in his pre-MASH days, and a little film called Enter the Devil. And this weekend, I'm continuing it, looking at a film called Messiah of Evil, The Brotherhood of Satan, and a truly unique film called Blood Sabbath.
Okay.
I will say no more. But I had a lot of fun talking about that one. I'll just say that.
Nice. Okie dokie. Okay, and what about you, Elton?
Okay, you can catch me on grandprixpodcast.com, where myself and Andy Plastides talk about the Grand Prix season at the moment. And also, you can catch me with the latest episode about London Comic Con with Darren and Andy on shonkylab.com. Now, if our stars align, I will also have Darren on for the next episode of Shonky Lab, and we will be talking about apocalyptic views, shall we say, and how to survive it using Amazon.
Okay. That's an interesting...
It should work. It worked once before.
An interesting... Oh, you're talking about Grumpy Old Man.
No. We did the episode years and years ago of Amazon, but we was using the Amazon wish list to help us fight zombies.
Ah, okay. Fine. Well, say no more. I'll leave... I'm intrigued. Right. Okay, well, for me, you can always find me on Space Doc Jury. We've just finished a mini-sode covering the Mass Effect N7 day. Much frothing of mouth and a complete absence of Pete because he's got no interest or frame of reference for that movie, for that set of games. And you can find that at spacedoc.geekplanetonline.com and on iTunes. And, of course, you can find me here. So, until next week... I'm going to do a proper out. We're going to do it properly this time. So until next week, thank you very much for listening. Join us again for LA Confidential, and we'll see you next time. Tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
Proper out.
Oh, bollocks to it.